I'm still up in the air on Temples versus Triomes. I like them both in different ways, You do have to play a lot of shock lands. Being able to scry into that third land or that fourth land you need is so critical. Just makes your keepable hands better. Oh man, Great Henge I haven't been impressed with. Yeah, another of one mind. Sideboard-wise, pretty fine here. Stroke negate. Do I need stroke? Can I just play negate? I'm gonna be adding though. I'll stick with this for now. Sadly, I played some very unfocused Clover the other day when I really shouldn't have been laddering. I just wasn't in the right headspace for it and hunted like 3 matches in a row. Sad times. But this is just the middle of the hero's journey, which means, of course, we're still on our way to the top. And we're going to start with NW Zilla. Alright, Kevlar Man, I'm listening. What have you discovered? JFB, why would I want main deck Storm's Wrath? What deck is that meant to address? Suppose I would like to address the problem of getting spells. Yeah, Kevlar Man, Boon of the Wishgiver is actually worth trying. That's one I haven't thought about enough. But I should. It's definitely promising. You know, it'd be really promising here would be a Lovestruck Beast of 1 mind. Okay, you know what? Of 1 mind is going to find me some interaction, I've decided. Oof! Well, it's not like Boon of the Wishgiver would have been any better in that situation, I guess. At least I'm not getting rankled. You know, if we had Boon, could we go to 26 lands? Well, JFB, despite what you're seeing here, aggro is not what concerns me with Clover. Clover eats aggro for breakfast as long as we draw spells, which, unfortunately, we did not draw any spells that game. But, no, the matchups that worry me somewhat are the Mirror and Sultai are the primary ones. And Storm's Wrath seems very bad in both of those matchups. I guess it's okay against certain Nissa draws if you don't have an aggro draw, but I think the fact that a lot of your draws end up being aggro draws and you're fighting back with creatures against what your opponent's doing makes Storm's Wrath main deck kind of a tough nut to, tough row to hoe, tough nut to crack. What am I looking for here? And on mono black aggro, I'm pretty down to just not sideboard. Yeah, I think if you really want to fight aggro, you should go with Scorching Dragonfire. I think I don't know, even getting to double red is not trivial in a lot of draws. Alright, that's more like it. That's a hand with spells. And we'll start with Innkeeper on 1, because I'm likely to go Stomp on 2, Bone Crusher on 3. But Kevlar Man, I think I'm going to try that. Somebody remind me after this match, but I would be down to try Boon of the Wishgiver. It's got a bunch of good properties. Alright, so actually I'm just running out Fae here. 1/4 that draws a card is very nice. Yeah, Fire Prophecy might actually be my favorite now that cats are gone and stuff. I think and there's no more Teft to like Scorching Dragonfire. I actually think Fire Prophecy might be the thing. Can't hit Nissa, but it can hit a Nissa land, which is still pretty good. Notably, this hand's a little soft to a Rotting Regisaur right now. We have a lot of draws that can deal with that, though, and Hunted Nightmare, even though it might be a better card than Regisaur, generically, does not concern me so much. I am hitting a lot of lands these games. A lot of lands. That is true, Kevlar Man, although I feel like the whole card cycling thing is really nice. Well, I can't block Hunted Nightmare, so we're just going to attack. I can kill a Spawn of Mayhem if my opponent puts that out. I could also, in theory, bring back Fate of Double Wish, so I don't think we're in that spot quite yet. Next round, I also just get to play Beanstalk Giant after killing... Alright, another Hunted Nightmare. That's cool. If my opponent can kill Beanstalk Giant, we're under a lot of pressure suddenly, assuming I never draw a Brazen Bar. If I bring back Fae, I can wish for Unsummon. I could even keep a land and wish for Unsummon Expansion. But I feel like we're not quite in that place yet. Another Beanstalk. Alright. I'm gonna try Beanstalk the first. If they have a Heartless Act, it's a problem. I guess Eliminate's also a problem since I lose my ability to block either of these. Alright. That is fine. They got Death Touch or something? Nope. Cool. Alright, well as long as I don't have another 4/5, I think I feel pretty decent. Nope, that's just a 4/4. How unfortunate for the opponent. Dragonfire is better against Anax, but I think it's easy to overlook. If you're thinking of the exception cases, I think it's easy to overlook that Fire Prophecy is better against almost everything else. Yeah, the problem with Anax is when Anax has an Embercleave, as opposed to like when Anax is popping out 1/1s for the most part. Okay, so quick, like, what would better here check? Great Henge would be better than Of One Mind here. It's a pretty low human draw. Boom, the Wishgiver would also be awesome here. I'm totally going to try 2 copies of that. I'm really excited. Alright, here's the Heartless Act. So we take 4 off the Nightmare. I then cast Beanstalk Giant, which means I take a min of 2. But of course, almost every spell in my deck is just game over here. Not that one, admittedly, not that one. Yeah, the Hunted Nightmares are kind of neat. They're hard to block. It's pretty annoying. Blacklands Paragon. Alright, so I've got this stuff covered. If my opponent goes for a big attack, we get to just stomp everything and kill the Nightmare. Easy as you please. Is that what we're doing? Yep, okay. Yeah, it's not so much that I want 2 burns permanently, it's more like I just want to draw it. Like, I just want to draw the card, so I can see how it feels to draw the card. It's probably somewhat better to line up blocks there, but I feel like if they had a removal spell, they were just going to cast it pre-combat. They weren't going to let me get blocks down anyway. Hey there, Max. And El Gran Boa, thanks for being the first follow of the night. 3rd Hunted Nightmare. Alright. That is something. Can I attack? Can I afford to attack? Can my opponent do haste damage to me? Huh. Think I'm just attacking? The only thing that would really get me would be Rankle or I guess Demonic Embrace, but I can't beat Demonic Embrace anyway, so it's not a consideration. And the opponent can bring back a Gutterbones, but it'll be tapped. And this attack makes many more draws lethal here. It's tough, but against Castle Lockthwain, I feel like I don't just want to be sitting back with 2 creatures hoping that something good happens. Like, this forces the opponent either to stay back, find a blocker. They have Gutterbones that doesn't block. I guess Blacklands Paragon would get me, but what else is new? This would be a great time to find a Brazen Borrower for once. Okay, well, here goes. If they have Blacklands Paragon, I'm dead. I can't block everything. We drew 15 lands this game. Ouch! Alright, well, lost the first match there. That was just Flood on top of Flood. Yikes. How many spells was that game? I think it was like 5 spells? Kellerman, what do you mean by removal in 2 turns? They weren't getting 2 turns there. But as it turns out, none of our decisions really mattered that game very much. I guess in theory we could have held on for 1 more turn, but having drawn the land there means... I guess we go to 1 off their attacks, but we're still facing castle. That was just really bad, but hey, first game of the day. Sometimes you're just going to flood and die. That was just very dramatically flooded. Alright, so we'll cut of one mind. Add in a nice Boon of the Wish Giver. Let's start with one, I guess. We'll start with one. And we are not going to play mode. No, 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 no. Yeah, it's just... I don't know what if you ran all the numbers, what that would say, but I feel like sitting back there is tough. Big problem is I wasn't dropping lethal in there. It's like I had 4 Brazen Borrowers, and hitting a Brazen Borrower plus making that attack gives me a lot more avenues to kill the opponent. Admittedly, that's a game where Triumph would have been better than that Temple. We did top deck the Temple on the last turn of the game. So score 1 for Triumphs. It's the kind of data you want to be looking at. But all I really want to do is have a game where I can get some spells today. Alright, Ash Lizzle is also having a hard time. Them's the breaks, Ash Lizzle. Them's the breaks. Alright, there's Boon, and I think we're in a Cyclone on turn 1, probably? Alright, it's Black-Red Sacrifice. Surprise, surprise. Actually, we're not sacking this Boon. I'm putting out a 1-1. Hey there, Weed. Double Borrower means that Airstream's Vessel coming back out of the yard is not especially threatening to me. Okay, looks like Ash Lizzle is now on Mardu Sack. Looking for this Priest so I can stomp it. Perfect. So if Boon were of one mind, it would be probably better as of one mind. Probably also better as Great Henge here. Don't know if I can expect Lovestruck Beast to survive, but probably they're not so much a claim deck anymore. Wow, just gives up the Butcher. I'm in for that. Alright, not finding the double blue yet, so am I on Bone Crusher here over Lovestruck? I believe I am. I like the idea of being able to actually attack. Also good to know there are no Luris's main deck, so probably just call the Death Dweller. Cruel Celebrant, is that the name of that card? Is that a different card? Cruel Celebrant's the name I'm looking for. Temple of Abandon, sure, so Ashley's a little stuck on mana. Definitely not looking for that, so Temple of Abandon scores 1 over being not being a Triome there. Not sure about this attack. But with Ashlizzle stuck on 2 lands, I feel like you can afford to get a little aggressive. Plan here is that I guess if Ashlizzle has like another Dreadhorde Butcher, things get awkward. Traded Scorpion, we just respond by bouncing the Priest. If Ashlizzle's in another land, he's not getting much out of this turn. And I believe I cycle Boon here. I feel like the odds of being able to get to double blue are not that great. So let's see. Alright, Edgewell Innkeeper. I like that one. I like Bone Crusher Giant being around. Let's just go with Bone Crusher Swings. Let me go Innkeeper Lovestruck. Vessel drops into the R. We have another Borrower. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more hesitant about that attack. There's the card we've been looking for. Okay, claim into Village Rites. Yep, so Innkeeper still a bit of a hassle in this matchup, a liability, but I think we're doing okay. Beanstalk's a good pickup as well, so I can go... Alright, I can go Clover into Beanstalk and just cast Borrower here. Seems worth. Insta-block. Okay, interesting. So if this is Call the Death Dweller, it's like a little bit of a weird Call the Death Dweller. Boy, playing this deck feels a little bit like driving on a very familiar route home where you just like kind of lose time Like your focus slips, then you're just like, how did I get where I am? What happened for me to get here? Here's call. Yep, getting back. Interesting. So, Vessel Butcher. Butcher is menacing and death touchy. Very cute, very cute. So the question is, am I going to bounce both these or play Borrower here instead? Clear play Borrower first and then bounce. And then we're getting off to a very aggressive set of plays here. Actually, I should have played that end of turn. Ashlesl could just have a land. That was really, really bad. But looks like we're not getting punished. I think this is going to be a lot of pressure for Ashlesl to deal with. But yeah, should have played that end of combat. If Ashlesl decided to just play Village Right sacking Butcher, I was going to lose Brazen Borrower for no reason, maybe. You know, she might have decided to put a land in untapped or something. So now we've got Borrower up, we've got Double Stomp up. I think we're just going to go in for 7 here and hold a bunch of Stomps and Borrower, since Ashlesl is almost dead with this line. Yeah, so Butcher could have killed anything, but I don't know. In case it's a decision to kill a flyer. Anyway, it's less the importance of the play itself versus just like don't make plays with timing that you don't have to make them at. It's like my lazy habit is playing things second main phase when I should just always be playing them end of turn. So now we win. We just have 8 points of stomp damage. And Ashlesl doesn't even need to see the lethal. She gets it. Okay, Rakdos. I guess Grafdigger's Cage is still good. I often think about bringing in Tormod's Crypt for matchups like this, but even with Lurrus as a companion, it's probably not worth it. Melee kills Butcher, but there's no Mayhem Devil to kill with it, so it's not nearly as impressive as it is in some cases. Ether Gust can take out a Butcher, but it's kind of small ball stuff. Level Mine is actually pretty bad because Ashlesl is very good at killing my 1/1 humans in a bunch of ways. Namely just with Claim or Butcher triggers, like Innkeeper just isn't going to survive very often in this matchup. So I could go Storm's Wrath, I could go Melee. Weed Magic was Kellerman's idea, but I think it's a reasonable idea. If the goal of playing flex slots is, as I always say, to make your deck smaller, Boon of the Wishgiver does make your deck smaller. It cycles cheaply when you have spare mana, and then late game it's actually a really good top deck, almost like Escape to the Wilds. So it seems like a pretty cool option. Is like this is like kind of like playing a 4th Escape, but you still get them an Escape in your sideboard. I dig that. Return to Nature interferes in interesting ways with some of the spells. I could just go Primal Might. I think it's just Primal Might. It's like a removal spell for Priest. Similar to bringing in Domeray's Ambush in this matchup, which I have generally done. So without Cat, we're seeing Archfiend's Vessel. What else is in here? What nasty surprises are waiting for me? Oof. Would not be surprised to see... Oof. It's one of those days, chat. We did go undefeated on the last stream, so we, I guess, deserve to have one of these days. Huh. Don't have a good feeling about Ashlesl keeping a hand here. Well, Boon of the Wishgiver looking, fine, I guess. Do I keep this? Do I just need lands? Next turn's Clover. Man, I hate doing this, but I think I can't keep it. Just need to hit the lands. JFB, I mean, that's not really the case. I'd say that... Okay, so Brazen Borrower makes it less imperative to jam a Stomp on the Butcher this turn, so I am going to take the time to go Clover. We're probably going to lose on the Mull to 5, especially since Ashlesl has a solid aggressive draw here. Please no Battle Display. Alright, Village Rites is also very live, so you gotta watch out for that one. Okay. So if Ashlesl taps out for Village Rites, I can bounce Butcher Scorpion. Yeah, anyway, JFB, the thing is that you, there are some matchups where you really, really need certain kinds of spells early, where you don't really have time to wish for them every time. Okay, so all this is coming in. I'm going to go with Borrow. Well, I'm going to block first. So the plan here is to double block the Archfiend's Vessel, and then bounce the Scorpion and the Butcher. The idea being here that we are going to, even if they Butcher and decide to kill a token, we can still kill the Vessel. Anyway, so if you need a certain kind of card early, it's totally fine to board it in. Like, killing Priest of the Forgotten Gods is very important in this matchup. We aren't going to have time to spend 5 mana wishing for Primal Might to kill it, and so I boarded in a Primal Might, especially because we still do have ways to, kill Priest in the board if we happen to want to wish for one later. We have Red Cap Melee in a pinch, we have Unsummon, which can delay it for a while, that sort of thing. Alright, so Ashl's got 6 cards in hand, we're at 8 life, we have nothing resembling an engine going. The challenge is on. Luris is just coming right back to hand, beautiful, love to see it. Steam Vents, no, I think I need to get, like, Beanstalks, Bone Crushers, just higher impact cards than that. It's nice to be able to get closer to casting Boon of the Wishgiver. I don't think we're in that zone. This matchup always just makes me want to be playing Espriorian. Just give me Oath of Kaias to blink. Neridian, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Edgewell Inn. Enjoy your stay. Yep, also do need a Brazen Borrower as soon as possible for the demon. That is true. I just forgot that was even coming out. That is quite the combo. Primal Might, notably, is another card that can just kill a demon here. But I think we're just going to die. A large part of that just being mulling to 5 on the draw. Gives you fewer options. Ooh, wow, alright. Alright, Ashlizzle knows what's going on. So I can Clover triple stomp the demon. Means I can't stomp Luris, though, and then Dreadhorde Butcher comes back. So it's my best chance to Lucky Clover triple stomp the demon and pray I somehow don't die to active Luris plus Dreadhorde Butcher coming back every turn? Or is it to, like, cycle Boon, hope to hit Brazen Borrower? I actually just think it's cycle Boon. Like, there's no way I'm beating an active Luris in this spot. And yeah, I'm just going to scoop it up here so I can't kill the demon anymore, so we're going to die to it. We could play Brazen Borrower to block, but I really think there's just no way against Luris bringing back Dreadhorde Butcher that we win that game, so I figure I'll take the shortcut of scooping. Maybe Tormod's Crypt isn't terrible. What if Tormod's Crypt wasn't terrible? What if I were playing that instead of Boon? Is that crazy? It doesn't seem crazy. I guess it is a really good wish target, but Cage is also a very good wish target. It's a better wish target. If Ashlizzle's doing... It's just 1 Luris, 4 Call the Death Dweller, though. There's not really any other Reanimator stuff. We'll keep trying Boon. Nah, I think if I want one of those things main, I do want Crypt, because I think Cage is a better card to wish for. But drawing none cards is a real cost. Alright, now there's a hand. There is a hand of Magic the Gathering cards, chat. We are very interested in this. MTG, no. On the draw, you might have a point. Although I think I would still board out Boon instead. But this is not the kind of matchup where you can expect to just win a game by doing your... This is not like Mono Red, right? Mono Red, you board out the escapes because your creatures will just beat them. Against Ashlizzle's deck, we do not expect our creatures to just win the game for us. We actually do need to leverage a bunch of card advantage at some point. Now this is an interesting spot. What I could do is just cast double Innkeeper instead of Clover. I think that's actually what I'm going to do here. The reason being that Ashlizzle needs, like, Claim and a sack outlet to actually kill the Innkeepers. Clover doesn't really multiply any spells for me right now. And ideally, I would love to just, like, cast Lovestruck Beast here. Like, worst case scenario, it's going to be claiming a Village Rites, but then I still get to draw a card off a Lovestruck. Or it's just Heartless Act, that's fine. So we actually get to land an Innkeeper, have it do something for a turn, and now we have a bit of an engine going. Actually, so I could do this turn as Clover into double token. I think I do that. I was just talking about how great it is to draw cards off Innkeeper. But the 1/1s do add up. Getting down Clover adds up when I have a Bone Crusher in hand now. So Ekdog, yeah, no, it haunts me that I've done that to you. I'm sorry. Alright, there's the battle display. Cool. Alright, Clover dies, that's fine. Glad that it's not Innkeeper dying. That's an interesting sack outlet to play. Alright, well, we'll just Lovestruck here. If they steal Clover, if they steal Innkeeper and sack it, whatever, we're getting closer to Escape the Wilds. And now you see the power of Escape the Wilds, right? Like, we could have unsummoned this land pad or something, but we have pretty good defenses on the play. We need something to go over the top, though, before things like Claim the Firstborn to Village Rites overwhelm us with card advantage. There is an argument for going down to 2 Escape even on the play and bringing a bit more interaction. Another thing, though, is that against Clover, a lot of decks, like the one that Shield Maiden is playing, tend to go a little bit more controlling. Landpad does make it really painful and annoying to try and kill things. We're just going to Escape instead. We can sack anything we target. But I love getting off. Do I go for second Innkeeper here? Is it worth paying 2 life for that? What is my next turn looking like after this one? Ash Lizzle's done. Okay. I understand. Okay, I think that's a two-match win streak against Ash Lizzle, who is terrifying to play against and certainly smashed my face in the first time we met on Arena. But hey, it makes up. That hand certainly makes up for the hands we got that first match. Yes, that was definitely the sign of the scoop. Embereth is good, don't get me wrong. It's probably the best artifact removal spell you can be playing, but it's not that good. Relux, alright. Gonna get some rating points off of this, hopefully. This hand is reasonable. None of the big cards, but this is why I love Temple of Abandon. If we are looking for Innkeepers, Clovers, and Escapes, which we kind of are with this hand, Temple of Abandon gets us 1 card closer to them, or it's just right on top. Huh. Kellerman, does this happen to you? Maybe I should actually not be playing Scry Island since it's just a sign of that, because it's always just right on top. What tier is Temur Clover Weed in Magic? That's an interesting question. I do think it's the best deck in Standard until proven otherwise, so I guess that's tier 1. I would say maybe not tier 0, though. Ouch! Alright, so is this like weird Temur Control? Are they just Temur Adventures, but playing main deck Wilt? I'm very curious. I'm just gonna cast Bone Crusher here. That was, I mean, they got me. Yeah, my guess is Temur Control, but, I mean, people do the main deck Wilt thing in Clover sometimes. Nope, it's Control. Alright, well, I can't believe that's, like, actually the right thing to do. Like, that seems very unlikely to be the right thing to do, but it did get me. And if they cast, like, Nissa or something next turn, I'm gonna be in trouble. Does this deck even play Nissa? I don't know. It's a Rogue Brew. Doing Lovestruck Beast here in case of Nissa, because even though this token's pretty likely to get shocked, at least it chews up a card for them. I could have Fade for Escape, but I think that's premature. Yeah, I've heard this deck can give Clover some problems. The main deck Wilt definitely did the thing. I mean, this is the reason I'm saying Temur is not tier 0. I think as long as people are going so far as to play main deck Wilt to fight it, you're actually going to have a hard time. Not a hard time, but like a harder time. Okay, speaking of time, here's Teferi, Master of Time. Gonna get them closer to Uro, but we do have Fae of Wishes to get Tormod Script if it looks like that's happening. And we can just destroy Teferi here pretty easily. So, the question is, do I even pay attention to Teferi, or do I just, like, bounce this Llanowar Visionary, attack my opponent with 2 creatures? Given that I have the 3rd blue now, I'm actually pretty down to just bounce this Llanowar Visionary and attack my opponent for 9. Attacking Tef with the token, so if Tef wants to shut down Lovestruck Beast, it actually costs the Tef dying. Weed and Magic, that's just Croakies being grumpy Croakies. I creamed him with that deck once upon a time, and it's always been... Ooh, that was clever. That was clever. Alright. I'll kill the Tef here. Very smooth opponent, very smooth. But they don't really have time to replay the Visionary the way things are going, especially when they missed that land drop last... Oh, I guess they didn't miss the land drop last turn. Even so, we have two pretty solid creatures. Derail is going to make blockers pretty well, but we still have Brazen Borrower. Lovestruck Beast also just like pounds through all of this pretty well. Fire Prophecy, Bone Crusher, Giant. Okay, so you're going to get a Derail token to block Lovestruck. I guess I'll cast Borrower now before they potentially have a Mystical Dispute or something. Yeah, the problem for my opponent here is that we still have just lots of offense going in. We've got a quiet Fling sitting on our hand. So what's the play here? I could go Fae for Unsummon, bounce this thing, attack, which puts the opponent to a really low life total. I could just go Beast Token. Feel like it's just going to be Token Lovestruck here. That gives me two 5/5s attacking. Opponent can't play Niv next turn. They can make another Cat. Yeah, this just has to be add more pressure to the board kind of thing. And get closer and closer to Fling being lethal. Yeah, Storm's Wrath could be a thing, but they would need a red source, and they would need to kill their own Derail to do that. So I'm not too worried. It also just means that any 1/1 I draw for the rest of the game is incredibly lethal. I still have 6 of them. So opponent is miles from Niv Mizzet. They fetched basic Forest with Fabled Passage earlier, which makes me really wonder if they're even playing Niv Mizzet. Like, probably not, right? Hydroid Crisis makes sense. They must have some other form of interaction for that to be worth doing. Else, I wouldn't say this is GG. Who the heck knows what's even in their hand? But if they get hit by Lovestruck, it could be a good game. Let's see. Oh, he's just a funny man, Zweck Dog. He's just a funny man. Funny man with a funny voice. Alright, so I could wish for Fling. Counterspells exist, though, chat. Counterspells exist. And losing a Lovestruck Beast and just getting that Fling countered is like an easy way to lose the game. There are too many options. I'm testing out JFB. We could easily end up with Fabled Passage if we wanted to. Yeah, we could easily end up with Fabled Passage at some point. But I just think that there are a lot of other things to try right now. And after I played more Ladder, I'll eventually realize that, oh, this is the card I'm never wishing for. Alright, so again, opponent's deck could be running Ether Gust. It could be doing all sorts of things. This is going to seem weird because obviously Fling is lethal, but I'm just going to get Escape to the Wilds. Because Escape to the Wilds is going to destroy my opponent given that they're 3 life. Alright, so it turns out they had Fire Prophecy, whatever. Nah, gave MTG. I think Spear is not the thing. I want something that doesn't rely on my creatures sticking around on board. I'm also aware of the opponent just like jamming an Uro out of nowhere. We'll see. If they do have an Ether Gust, then getting Escape hit is going to be kind of annoying, but we just put it back on top of the library at that point. Well, alright, well, in the end it turned out to be unnecessary, chat. It turned out to be unnecessary. So we've still got Fling up, and it's going to be live for a while. I guess if the opponent finds an Uro, then Fling stops being live. Alright, let's see if there's a Gust here. Looks like there probably is. Alright, and do I put on... Yeah, I'm still putting it on top. My opponent has no pressure. They might have hard counters in their deck somewhere. I'm perfectly happy. As long as I resolve an escape at some point this game, I should not lose. This is the theory. Okay, lots of Fire Prophecies in this deck. Cool, cool, cool. I guess if I put it on the bottom, maybe the opponent would tap out here. So that's like an interesting thought. But it's still very dead to fling. Actually gonna go for escape pre-combat here, in case my opponent's plan is to like kill my 1/1 ahead of combat. I would like to be able to get another one off of that. Oh, it's Boon of the Wishgiver, that's cute. Cookies does have good taste in music. I've heard many of my favorite playlist songs also on his lists. Sadly, can't cycle. That is one thing that's a little awkward about Boon of the Wishgiver, is you can't cycle it off of escape here. But I don't think this matters. Yeah, Bob, that's also true. That's also a good point. So I could cast this? Do I cast this? Maybe? Yeah, in the interest of value, this is still a lot of value. I guess this is where Sublime Epiphany could get me pretty good. Got Sublime Epiphany opponent? If so, that would be really good to learn about in a position where I'm already way ahead. JFB, yeah, the opponent does know if you bottom your card off of Aether Gust, if that's what you're talking about. Alright, this feels like Sublime Epiphany, chat. I should have attacked first. Yeah, cute. Very cute. Okay. Very cute. Nice work, opponent. That was really awesome. Still don't really see how they're getting through this. Maybe wilt into wilt. Understood, JFB. That makes sense. Alright. Opponent just goes wilt into wilt, and we've still got a... Well, if they go wilt into wilt, they die to fling. It is worth noting that the turns we were worried they had counterspells. They did have a counterspell on both of those turns. I guess actually last turn... Yeah, fling... We could have gotten fling with negate back up last turn, but they would have just Sublime Epiphany'd the Fae and the counter, which is awkward. There's the second wilt. I mean, opponent's really hanging in there. Opponent is really hanging in there. I think I'm gonna go for escape here. If I go for double wish, there's not much they can do about flinging a negate, right? There just shouldn't be anything they can do about flinging a negate. With only 2 mana, yeah, there shouldn't be. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. No fear zone. No fear zone. Weed Magic, are you talking about my opponent's deck? I'd be a little surprised, but they kind of have a lot of cards Ultimatum doesn't hit, but maybe? Okay, here's negate. This means to my opponent, you get negate first because if the opponent realizes what you're doing and decides to counter the second Fae, you want to be able to negate that so you can go and get the fling. Well, I guess it actually doesn't matter. Once in a very long while, it matters. Not this position. Alright, opponent's gonna need... I guess if the opponent had, like, life gain on a creature that had flash. Maybe. Okay. I don't really understand the Primal Might idea, Gabe. But yeah, Fling Negate did it. Okay, this deck. Doesn't seem to be a Nissa deck. We saw Krasis, Jerael, Fire Prophecy, Llanowar Visionary, Wilt. Brazen Borrower bounces Cats. Brazen Borrower can, like, get some tempo on Jerael, bounces Tef, which is a good exchange. I don't really see any reason to not do this. This is definitely a matchup where I'm glad that all my main deck spells are just card draw instead of, like, Storm's Wrath. All I want to be doing is drawing more cards than my opponent in the long game. Khainrai, yeah, maybe with Terror. This doesn't super look like a Terror deck, but Terror of the Peaks is not a card we mind since it dies to Wish into Red Cat melee. And yeah, maybe they are a Nissa deck. If we see cards like Nissa or Niv Mizzet, we might think about bringing in Aether Gust main. I do not know what the Menguchi deck is. Yes, Terror and Temur Elementals is standard, but our opponent's deck is not Temur Elementals. And Terror doesn't seem like it super synergizes with what they're doing. I mean, it's a great card. It just doesn't seem very synergistic. Feels like they're doing a little bit of like a flash control thing. Okay. Better have 2 wilts, opponent. Or I guess, you know, wilt negate, that sort of thing. Yeah, Weed Magic, I didn't really get it. I didn't really get the discontinuity thing. It feels like you wait to play on your opponent's turn. If your opponent, you know, doesn't have a counter for your discontinuity, why don't you just play, I don't know, Sublime Epiphany or something, which has, like, proactive uses and also is just going to ruin their turn if they don't have a counterspell? K-Chai, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Don't let me tell you what to do. Trust your instincts. That's kind of a joke. You shouldn't trust your instincts. Your instincts will betray you. Alright, so I'm going to run out Clover here. We don't really need both of them. And if they have a Wilt, sure, whatever. If they have a Negate, sure, whatever. You got me. Perfectly okay just trading 1 for 1 here. Two discontinuity is not correct. Yes, you should not do that. I am fairly confident in that assertion. Alright, so we're going to go with, I think, Stomping Ground and go for Clover double token. If they have another Wilt or a Negate or something, whatever. Opponent's going down to 3 cards in hand at that point. Anyway, K-Chai on Primal Might and Dormir's Ambush. I think they both have advantages and disadvantages. We talked about this a bit last time, but I feel like it's worth going into again since there are new people watching tonight, I'm sure. Basically, a big benefit of Dormir's Ambush is that it just deals damage directly to Planeswalkers, so it can kill a Nissa much more easily than a Primal Might. It's, in fact, its like primary thing that it does really well. Same for Ugin, I guess. The primary advantage of the card Primal Might is that the biggest thing it does is it costs 1 mana instead of 2. Very often you're just using Dormir's Ambush to kill a creature, and Primal Might, as long as you have a Glovestruck Beast in play, is like cheaper. And cheaper means a lot, especially when you're wishing for removal out of your sideboard. Means a lot. Oh, yeah, I should get Cardboard Live up. Probably is not up. Cardboard Live is a coming in. So you'll be able to see the sweet, sweet Boon of the Wishgiver soon. Yep, I might go back to Ambush. This is like early on testing new cards kind of thing. So there are a lot of cards you'll see here are not cards that I strongly endorse, but they're ones I think are interesting. Okay, so it was not Terror of the Peaks, it is Teferi, Master of Time, which is gonna get kind of kicked into the ground by Lovestruck Beast pretty fast here. See, they have a shock for Innkeeper? It would appear not. That's another Lovestruck Beast, I like that. So, what do we start with? I think we go Lovestruck and tokens all hitting Tef here. Opponent can block a token with Krasis, but if they do that, they lose Tef. Interesting, so they have like a shock plus a take Lovestruck Beast out of commission? Or are they just willing to lose Tef to... Okay, it looks like they're maybe just willing to lose Tef here. Sure. My opponent cast 4 mana Faithless Looting. It was. Does that mean it still is, or isn't it? Seems fine now. Alright, we're getting a little bit of lag notification on my side, but nothing's extreme. Alright, this is just the all Lovestruck Beast hand, and I am always down with the all Lovestruck Beast hand. If the opponent's a Storm's Wrath, they're going to be incredibly sad about what happens next. Is Temur good, Dino Kami? Do you mean the Temur deck I'm playing? Do you mean the Temur deck my opponent's playing? Do you mean a different Temur deck? As a color combination goes, it certainly does seem to have a lot of reasonable things. Ooh, alright. Opponent is very confident I'm not jamming another Lovestruck here, and our opponent is going to be very sad when they realize the grim truth. Sorry, Relux, this was a good draw. What do you mean by Nissa plus Ugin, Weed and Magic? You mean like casting Nissa and then casting Ugin? I feel like if our opponent had those cards, we would have seen them already. I also don't care about Ugin because I'm about to double Beanstalk into double Fey. In the correct order. So if they Nissa into Ugin, they can wipe out the board and have 2 Planeswalkers, but at that point we just wish for Storm's Wrath, and we kill those 2 cards. So fortunately we don't have to be too concerned about it. I guess something like Ugin could be an argument for getting Storm's Wrath here. Let's see how our opponent reacts to the Fey. And I'm starting with Escape the Wilds, because Escape the Wilds basically solves all your problems by itself. And... yeah, I just don't think they have Nissa Ugin. What do I get here instead? Negate seems pretty good for stopping Sublime Epiphany. I like that. So if the opponent does have exactly Nissa Ugin, then they are a true champion. But we also can just escape into double Bone Crusher. Alright, Uro's in, so Uro can actually come out if the opponent has the land for it. But at that point I get to cast Escape to the Wilds and look for a Brazen Borrower. Oof. Oh, Kevlar Man, I'm just greedy. You know I'm greedy, right? Would you've gotten, like, Fling there? What card am I meant to get instead of Escape, I guess, is the question. My opponent isn't really doing anything, so it's hard to say what to do. If I had been thinking about Uro, I would have still said, okay, if they hit a land drop, they can just Uro bring it back next turn. I guess Tormod's Crypt, anticipating Uro is a thing, but I prefer, against an unknown amount of counter magic, to just get more spells that I can force through. Sadly, in paper Magic, maybe I could have gotten away with it, but not on Arena. And yes, JFB, they should have Flame Swept at the beginning of combat, although I don't blame them for Flame Sweeping on their main phase, because Temur Clover does sometimes run Ether Gust in the main deck, and that would have been quite bad. Yeah, Once and Future is a reasonable one too, Kevlar Man. Although honestly, what are we Once and Futuring back? Like Lovestruck? Like Innkeeper, I guess? Innkeeper and Clover? I can see it. But I feel like 5 cards off the top is like at least as good as Innkeeper and Clover on average, given that we had the other Clover already. I just think if your opponent has no pressure, it's pretty hard to go wrong by drawing your deck. That's kind of my philosophy here. Unless you actually have like a path to just killing them very reliably, which I don't think we're quite there yet. Yeah, I think Temur Clover is probably at least as attackable as Wilderness Reclamation was. You saw what the opponent was doing there with the Wilts. Yeah, Patrick IJ, Sultai is definitely tough. I think them losing Growth Spiral was a pretty big hit to them. They sort of don't have as many broken draws as they used to. They lean really heavily on Casualties of War. But if Sultai got big, I could see Clover starting to run some counterspells main. Agari Mela probably Sultai. Yeah, that's a point, Kevlar Man. There's also the question of, like, you know, what happens if they just play, like... I don't remember what their lands were in play, but if they play, like, a Niv Mizzet or something? Something that kind of, like, is a giant permanent that sits on the board?
Don't ignore what's happening here. We're having some kind of powerful, weird alchemy, and you have to pay attention when that happens.
Okay, yeah. On the play against a Yorion deck, I'm totally happy to keep this.
Listen, I actually just came out here to have a cigarette, okay, and relax. No.
Alright, opponent also mulling to 5. Not a great start for... Ray here. Sorry about that.
Okay, I may never get this chance.
Temple looking way better than a Triome in this position. You know what? You know what? You know what? Do I just do it? Yorion is usually going to be Orzhov Yorion. Yeah, that's just how my arena looks. So if I adjust it to... Let's try this, actually. Let's do an experiment. Let's turn it off full screen mode for a second. And I guess... expand things slightly. Yeah, I can stretch to fit here, maybe. Anyway, I'm going to keep this. Because my opponent could be playing Agonizing Remorse, and I have enough lands just cast this already. Alright, they may not be playing Agonizing Remorse, we'll see. Let's see. Alright, well, here's the question. Does that look better to people? NYS, no. There's no, it's certainly much too early to tell what you need to play in your flex slots. Okay, so this is just Temur Elementals, so keeping the second escape was probably not warranted there. I was just expecting Orzhov Yorion because I've been seeing a lot of Orzhov Yorion, and Martin Yuza was talking about it today. Even so, double escape is going to be pretty good. But yes, I would have bottomed the escape had I known that we were up against this deck, because this deck runs no targeted discard and no counterspells. Beanstalk Giant is very good. Beanstalk Giant is very, very good. Outstanding, even. Yeah, negate the flex slot's one of many plausible things that seem fine. So, what's the scariest thing they could do here? Would be like Terror of the Peaks? Paradise Druid is not it. Second Risen Reef, I guess, in which case I'm going to need to escape into a Bone Crusher. If that's it, that's not very scary, although the opponent again did Mold a 5. Alright, leaving up red seems good, because we got blue in hand. We hit... Alright, a bunch of stuff that's not that impressive collectively. I think this is just going to be Innkeeper... I guess Innkeeper is kind of Omnath bait. Actually, what I could do is just double token and hold up Brazen Borrower, which stops Yorion from really accomplishing anything, because if they cast Yorion, we just bounce Yorion and Risen Reef. I guess I don't even need a token, I could just Temple? Are the tokens important? Is getting Lovestruck Beast out of this exile zone important? I think the tokens seem fine. We hold Borrower. The opponent can play around me holding Borrower, but the only real way to do that is by not playing anything. Even if they play like Genesis Ultimatum, I still get to bounce the Reef and Druid, which is still pretty good. Yep. Anything you can't wish for sucks. There are occasional very rare exceptions. Maybe you can do like Embereth Shieldbreaker. Like if Clover became really popular, then playing a couple of sideboard Embereth Shieldbreaker seems maybe okay. But it's still touchy even then. Alright, is the opponent really going to not play... Huh. So, I guess my question is the opponent playing some really weird version of Temur Elementals that plays like Sublime Epiphany? Feels like this could be like really weird Temur Elementals with Sublime Epiphany. I'm just bouncing the Reef here because we're going to lose Borrower either way, and the opponent getting to draw a card is more than made up for by their not being able to... by having to spend 3 mana to do it, which stops them from doing lots of other good things next turn. Yeah, this just feels like Sublime Epiphany, which is a card I could picture someone playing in this deck. I mean, I'm just going to play Escape here, and if they counter it, it's fine. Okay, they didn't counter it. They didn't have anything. Alright, sure. So in that case, I sadly can't Fae of Wishes for a counterspell for an Ultimatum, otherwise that is what I would do. So Ultimatum is the last thing that scares me. Does that mean I should try and hold up like Bone Crusher to kill a Terror of the Peaks in case they happen to have one? Like that's a real question. That's a real possibility that I'm supposed to do that. Chat, does Grafdigger's Cage work against... Does Grafdigger's Cage work against the Ultimatum? Because if it works against Ultimatum, I might go get it. Really unsure. I'm going to try and look it up, but if somebody has the answer, I'd appreciate it. Grafdigger's Cage, Ultimatum, MTG. Yeah. Emergent Ultimatum. No, that's not it. Alright. Anybody in chat have the answer? It stops them from putting things on the battlefield. Okay, you know what then? I'm going to go for that. Because that really is the only thing that scares me here. It's not the most efficient turn in the world, but this is the only thing that scares me. So we're just going to grab... We have another escape in hand, so I'm actually just going to grab Cage and a counterspell, I think. I think it's Disdainful Stroke here, which covers all of their big creatures. We already have a double stomp in case they resolve a terror this turn. Alright. Yeah, so they can have a 7-mana draw 5. They're not allowed to put like 3 creatures in the grid. Yep. And Ugin is absolutely fine. Especially if it's Ugin 0 instead of just Ugin plussing at me. That is great. That's a little... Okay, yep. So this is what happens often when you get Ugin against Temur Clover, is Ugin just gets Brazen Borrowed the next turn. Your 8-mana permanent had better be a really good 8-mana permanent to be worth doing. So So we have now Disdainful Stroke up, and I just get to hold Disdainful Stroke up, and that should be, I believe, Curtains. While we're hanging out here, I guess we'll go Innkeeper into Bone Crusher Giant. Don't really want to double stomp, because I can just play another creature here. Or I could Beanstalk, also seems good. Let's just Beanstalk. I'll play Elven Mind first, I guess. Play Elven Mind first, and then we can Beanstalk to hold up Stroke. We'll lose Boon of the Wishgiver again, sadly. But that's the way of the world. Getting a blue source so we can cast Brazen Borrower in case our opponent does something besides play a spell right into our Disdainful Stroke that they know we have. Yep, looks like they don't want to play into it, but it does turn off their Ugin and their Yorion. Yep, JFB, that is a very common thing. My wife has run into that in a lot of Clover mirrors. Just, do I care about hitting Omnath? I suppose not so much. It's a little annoying that it gets them a card and it kills Innkeeper. It's possible I should have Disdainful Stroked that. In response to that, I get to jam and draw another card here. Basically, as long as my opponent can't deal with Beanstalk Giant, we should be fine, and Ugin seems like it would be their main way of dealing with Beanstalk Giant. Oh, okay, they are drawing the cards now. Yeah, maybe that was supposed to be a disdainful target, and we just like assume that next turn puts us so far out of reach it doesn't matter. Opponent's putting a good fight for the Mull to 5. For sure. But this is the part where keeping the escape. Actually, this is the part where we just Brazen Borrow them into the Stone Age again, maybe? Let's see. How much mana is this? Count the Beanstalk, it's 14 mana. So if I play Fae of Wishes out here, I should be able to set up a very easy fling kill the next turn, so that's what I want to keep in mind. Yeah, probably I'm just going to end up going for a very easy fling kill. So I cast... let's see. Swing in. Wouldn't be surprised to see a block. No blocks, okay. I think it's just going to be bounce both of these, play Beanstalk, hold up Disdainful Stroke, and play Fae. I don't know, I'm not thinking through this too carefully because opponents basically can't win from here. Yeah, we'll just play Fae out here, we can bring it back, we can stroke a big play, and they're just going to die to fling and negate. Yeah, J-Blaze, it was like a sort of like wish for a card to stop the only thing you're worried about. The only thing I was worried about was like a massive ultimatum going off, so we got caged to stop it from being too explosive. Okay, Omnath's in, and I don't have to pay attention to Omnath because it doesn't stop me from executing my plan. Only thing that would stop that now would be something really bizarre like Whirlwind Denial. They're drawing lots of cards, but they don't have enough mana to do anything that affects the board enough. I guess they get an Ether Gust as well. Ether Gust would be an interesting wrinkle. But I've seen a bunch of builds of this deck, and none of them are running Ether Gust main. Alright. Yep, Gabe, it's not amazing, but we were trying to think, like, how could we possibly lose the game there, and is there anything we can wish for that, like, makes it less likely we lose the game? And the easiest way to lose the game is if my opponent goes, like, Genesis Ultimatum hitting, like, Terror of the Peaks, Omnath. So it's not amazing, but it stops you from dying to something very silly. And all we needed to really worry about was dying to something very silly there because we had more than enough card draw and answers to anything else they could have played at that point. And that's a really key Clover skill is you avoid losing those games on the edge if you're always thinking, like, how do I not die to this one thing my opponent could pull out? Birdman OSC, thanks for the follow. Although if we'd had some more aggressive play to make there, sure, we had kind of like a spare wish and nothing we really needed at the moment. So against this deck, what I want to do, I think I want at least one piece of Mandate Counter Magic. Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower isn't bad. It's nice that it hits Terror of the Peak and Ugin and Omnath and stuff. Actually, this is a Fae of Wishes out matchup. Fae of Wishes is a lot weaker in green ramp matchups typically. There's just not as much stuff you want to go get. And I could see getting rid of Boon as well. Just as far as like, I probably want to bring in 2 counter spells. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of Boon. Let's bring in... I think I'll keep Negate to Wish for and bring in Stroke and Gust. That seems good. Try like that. NYSGC, I mean, playing any deck well sort of requires that you understand your opponent's decks well. I think Clover probably does that to a greater extent even than the average deck. Because there are like a lot of cases where, you know, you're wishing in advance, you're trying to prepare for your opponent's threats even though you don't know what they're going to do yet. Okay, that's not a Leafkin Druid. Interesting. Maybe they brought in Bone Crusher Giant. It's not Growth Spiral anymore. Let's see. Hit you... Alright. So... I guess the most likely thing this is probably just Aether Gust. I'll be slightly annoyed if it's Bone Crusher Giant and Innkeeper, but then at least I get to cast Lovestruck Beast and attack with it. Thanks, NYSCC. I appreciate it. Alright, let's try Innkeeper. Maybe they brought in Bone Crusher, but maybe not. Smells like just Aether Gust end of turn to me. No Scorching Dragonfire. Okay. That's whatever. We lost Innkeeper, but we forced the opponent to use the removal spell there, which means that I get to cast Lovestruck Beast and hit them with it. The great thing about this deck not playing Nissa is that we don't have to worry as much about this upcoming turn 5. Ooh, second Lovestruck's also nice. This is going to be a nice quick clock. We have Fae of Wishes to get Tormod's Crypt if we're worried about Uro coming out at some point. Okay, Omnath picks off the token, which is cute, but I've got another one. And I've... Wow, okay, we're just going off here, huh? Well, this is great. So I'm going to attack and play another Lovestruck. Now that I have the backup token especially... Wow, just blocks. Okay, so this smells like opponent having another Omnath, but if they have another Omnath and kill the token, the third token is going to absolutely destroy them. I do recommend if you want to win this deck, drawing 3 Lovestruck Beast is a really good way to win with this deck. 3 Lovestruck Beast is really good. So yeah, that block made it basically certain that they had another Omnath, but because we had the other Lovestruck Beast, we had the luxury of not caring. If I had one more land, I could bounce the Omnath and then certainly just win by having Aether Gust to catch on the way back down, but this probably should still do the trick. Could someone ban Dark Magic Life so that Dark Magic Life can go off to a different stream where Dark Magic Life will be happier? Did they really bring in Mystical Dispute? No. Okay. Actually, let me practice my mod tools here. Is this going to be easy? Click on you and ban you. Oh yeah. That's actually really easy. Great. Goodbye. EKC Gaming 16, thank you for the follow. Almost back to top 100. Very good, very good. It's always tempting to add people like that as friends, because maybe they just want to be friends and they don't know how to express themselves, but bans are simple. To be fair, usually the triple Omnath draws are really bad. They found a case where a triple Omnath draw might have been good, but the Aether Gust came through. Groovin' 1. Haven't hit Winota. I only really have hit Winota once on the ladder so far, and it was a kind of a janky version of the deck. But my suspicion is that Winota should be pretty easy, just like your normal mode of interaction is very good against them. But I'm not sure. I've heard from people who've had some trouble with it, and other people who thought it was easy. I'll have to face it myself to know. I just haven't really seen much. It feels like with the main thing was targeting out of the meta, it might just be weaker than other aggro options. Okay, so there's not really a special reason to play Innkeeper here. I'm going to go for this because it gives me a better chance of getting a Clover. Bottom that. Someone who's been losing a lot to Clover is a pretty good guess. The other thing I could find... Okay. So, opponent's doing the fun stuff over there. Do I jam Innkeeper as a distraction? Alright, so Clover Mirrors are interesting. There are like a lot of like distinct things your opponents could do. So my options here include playing a land and just holding up Stomp in case they play an Innkeeper. Playing my own Innkeeper. I think the correct answer here is just to play this and hold up the Stomp. If my opponent plays an Innkeeper, I get to Stomp it. Otherwise, I can just Beanstalk Giant and play Innkeeper next turn. I'm certainly Beanstalk Gianting next turn because it gets me to turn 4 Escape. And the person who plays Escape the Wilds first is perhaps even more likely to win this matchup than the person who plays Clover first. Yep, like I found it. I found it. Okay, so it's just Lovestruck Beast. They're just getting some tokens, that's whatever. So I'll just stomp one of those. Notably, if they have a Bone Crusher Giant or something, they could like stomp their own token to kill in response, and I would lose my Bone Crusher Giant. But if they want to do that, that's totally fine, because it means that I get to have my Edgewell Innkeeper. Oh, did Croakies lose to Clover today? I gotta go see that. That will give me a little bit of happiness. It'll make up for every time I've been casualty to board playing Clover and lost. Stampius, thanks for the follow. Alright, they went for it. Opponent was like really uncertain if I had it, and unfortunately for the opponent I did have it. However, the opponent does have like 7 power on board next turn. Like, we are a little bit under the gun against these, since we don't have a clean answer at the moment. Something I've actually seriously considered, which might seem weird, is just playing like a Blazing Volley on the sideboard, not so much for mono red, but for like the mirror. Because it's often really good to have like a 1-mana answer to like a flock of tokens and an Innkeeper, like a 1-mana way to say like your Lovestruck Beasts aren't going to attack. Sarah Beep, Sultai is like an okay matchup. I would say it feels 50-50, but for Clover, given that most of Clover's matchups are quite good, it's you know, that feels like pretty tough. So if the opponent just jams Lovestruck, there's a chance I might just Beanstalk and a Bone Crusher next turn, which lets me negate their attacks for a turn and also get off a much more powerful Escape to the Wilds. But it looks like they're a little stuck on lands. Maybe not, maybe not. Second Fae of Wishes. Interesting. I could also Beanstalk, cast Fae of Wishes, which also does the same thing of blunting their attack, and get a tap land down. What's our worst matchup? Probably Sultai. Probably Sultai. I think they're slightly favored, which would make it our worst matchup, because I think Clover has a lot of good matchups. Alright, let's go with... Alright, I think I'm okay to shotgun here and play the Bone Crusher, just Fae is much more efficient. This is tough. Playing Escape might have been right there. Eef. Alright. Well, at least we get to make a lot of chump blockers next turn, maybe. Hitting 3 Fae, no Clover is not what you want to do in this matchup. I might also just double block. I kind of want to get this thing out of here. If I double block and they have like double Stomp, it's a bit sad, but then whatever, they could have killed Innkeeper anyway. Let's try this. Let's try this and see if they go for like double Stomp, kill my Innkeeper. That's honestly fine. Like, they spent 2 mana this turn, this is like the whole thing they're doing. That's fine. If they go like land Bone Crusher, it's faintly awkward, but we're still at 14, which is a pretty safe life total. So now what I'm going to do is just Fae for... So the thing I want to do here is Fae for Storm's Wrath. Is there any reason to escape instead? I don't think so. I think escaping puts me at risk of just taking way too much damage. I think at this point I want to be playing damage control mostly. It's tough. The opponent's got the tempo thing going here because we just haven't hit a Clover and we haven't hit enough interaction for their tokens. There are times when Lovestruck Beast will just never ever attack in this matchup, and there are times when it attacks well. Actually, what I'll do first is play Temple of Mystery. That might be kind of informative. Breeding Pool. I'm actually down for a land next turn. Alright, so I'm just going to go for Storm's Wrath here. Counter some number of their other plays. If I had Blazing Volley, I'd be very tempted. But this is tough, this is tough. If the opponent has like a bounce spell, we just take 11 next turn, and taking 11 is really bad because it means any stomp they have for the rest of the game just kills us. Or if they have like a double stomp for Fae of Wishes, so now we block Lovestruck. Go to 8, which is still not super safe because that's fling range now. We can never get flung for the rest of the game. Like, really, the way Clover tends to play out is it's just like a hard fight for whoever gets to the point where they're like attacking the opponent to fling range first. Alright, well, here's Storm's Wrath. I feel like if they had Borrower, they would have played it. I think I just want to cast Fae in case they have like a 1/1 here or a Brazen Borrower that they were planning to attack with. I think Shocking and then Wishing just puts me dead to way too many things. And we already have a Fae, we don't really need the third one. This looks weird, I'm sure, but based on the way that these decks deal damage, I think that Fae is the correct play here. Opponent does not seem to have escaped the wilds. The most likely thing in their hand is like Brazen Borrower or just a bunch of lands. Okay, well if he didn't have the escape, Wound of the Wishgiver would look great. Huh. Could play Beanstalk. Beanstalk Giant gets me creamed by Brazen Borrower, so I don't think I want to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to escape here. Maybe get Mandic Ether Gusted? No. Good, 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 good. Okay. That seems nice. So I think, let's see, a few options. I could Beanstalk for a forest, play Innkeeper, put down Breeding Pool. Borrower could kind of get me, but I'm only taking 3 the next turn, but if they draw a 1/1 off the top, I lose. I could hold a Bone Crusher Giant in case they draw a 1/1, but I have Fae which is to block, so it's not really that big a deal. If I Beanstalk, I could get a Mountain, play Breeding Pool on top, which shocks me into 6, but still lets me hold a Bone Crusher, and I get a little bit more mana. Complicated turns, chat. Thing is, if they had a 1/1, it could just be a double token, in which case holding up Bone Crusher doesn't really help me. So I think this is just Beanstalk, grab a land, play tapped Breeding Pool, pass. I just feel very strongly that my opponent is likely to have a Brazen Borrower in hand. That feels like what this is to me. I don't know. I'm playing very conservatively here, which if they hit like an Escape the Wilds off the top could get me horribly punished. Nissa, who shakes the world. Alright, was not ready for that one. But it's not a huge problem, I think. Yeah, I don't think Nissa's great in the Clover Mirror. Like, imagine if this Nissa had been Escaped Wilds, how much more trouble would I be in now, chat? Hint, the answer is a lot more trouble. I would be in a lot more trouble right now. Now it isn't going to be easy to take out Nissa. We might just have to Ether Gust her on their draw step with the Fae we have in hand. But that's okay. I am going to cycle Boon here. Alright, is my opponent going to show me whatever their last card in hand was? Just a land. Sure thing. Would love to hit a Clover right about now. Or not. Okay, so we have our land, which puts me on 11 mana. Got an escape here. Most likely correct play is going to just be like escape into Wish for Ether Gust, bounce the Nissa on their draw step. They're probably not running only Nissas. I think a lot of lists run like 1 or 2 Nissas and cut and escape. I could just go Innkeeper Beanstalk. Opponent's drawing off the top. If they don't hit exactly Brazen Borrower, then Beanstalk Giant is kind of just utter destruction. It's like really, really good. There's also like double Innkeeper, Wish, play Fae. We give up Escape to the Wilds there, which is tough. I'm gonna escape here. See what comes out. Wow, we have managed to still not hit a single Clover on the top half of the deck. But I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah, so that gives me the land drop I wanted. I'm now gonna go ahead and Fae of Wishes, grab Ether Gust. Put a stop on my opponent's draw step. Play out... We're going to lose one Bone Crusher, but that's fine. Yeah, we just need them not to hit Escape to the Wilds here. That's the big one. We need that not to be the top card of their deck. Like, Clover's fine, Innkeeper's fine, Lovestruck Beast is even fine. It's not Escape, please. So, current plan is that next turn we go, like, play some Beanstalk Giants, turn after that we get the Fling kill. Or, like, the Shadow Spear kill. The Shadow Spear does pretty well here, too. Alright, what was the draw? Just another land, alright. If that Nissa had been escaped to the wilds, things would have been much harder. Oh, did they bottom Nissa? Ooh, they bottom Nissa. They knew it wasn't good enough, chat. They knew it wasn't good enough. Alright, I have... How much mana now? I have 12 mana? Let's start with Innkeeper. Let's just draw 500 cards today. I am in the market to draw 500 cards, I think. So there's nothing that gets us to this point other than, like, escape into multiple Bone Crusher Giants. Wow. We're actually darn close to getting the Bone Crusher kill ourselves. That's funny. Let's see. Escape into multiple Bone Crushers. Hum. If I play this, we go down to 2 mana, which is enough to bring back a Fade Hand or bounce Clover in response to escape, so we can't die to 2 Bone Crushers nearly as easily. I think I'm into that. I think I'm into this. Except I cast the escape last turn, so I actually need to do the bounce now, so I probably do just do the bounce now. Okay. Yeah, interesting turn. There were a lot of ways I could have done it. I'm just going to go ahead and bounce this Clover. It just makes my opponent's potential next turn much less explosive. For example, they can't go Fey into Fling Expansion to kill me anymore, which is a big deal. Don't need this third Clover. And now, basically, next turn, I've set myself up to be able to go bring Fey back to my hand, wish for Shadow Spear. Or I guess actually just wish for Fling. So I kill my opponent with Fling next turn unless they kill me. And we played that turn out, so my opponent would be very unlikely to be able to kill me. Interesting game for sure. Opponent did flood a bit in the middle there, but that's what happens if you play Nissa instead of Escape to the Wilds. I just think... I've decided, I think, officially why I don't like Nissa very much. Black Beam, I was losing one of those Bone Crushers end of turn, and I didn't see the Clover on top of my deck until I played the Scryland end of turn. One of the Bone Crushers was going away Black Beam, unless I'm mistaken. But we also just had a Fling kill that was very straightforward, that the opponent couldn't have stopped either. Okay, so cutting a Borrower, adding an Ether Gust, that seems about right. Ether Gust cuts off... Actually... Huh. Is Borrower better than Boon? Borrower might be better than Boon. Borrower's not great in the matchup because a lot of the stuff you want to bounce is cheap, or can be played for adventures again, or deals you damage like Bone Crusher Giant. And Brazen Borrower is not a great attacker because it just gets blocked by Fey of Wishes very easily. So I usually like cutting one. I'm just not sure if I want to cut Boon or Borrower for the Gust here. I'll spray in main deck Return to Nature because it's pretty hard to... Yeah, let's actually do that. Gonna cut a Borrower and a Boon, bring in Return to Nature and Ether Gust to stop my opponent's most broken starts. If I'm on the draw, I like being able to play a little bit more reactive. Surabeep, I'm just testing Boon for the first time. I really don't know if it's good or not. So far, it hasn't super impressed me, but it's been okay. Oof. This hand's a little rough. This one's very close. This one's very close. It basically just doesn't do anything broken, so if my opponent has, like, Clover Beanstalk Escape, we're gonna lose. It does fight the conventional board battle pretty well. It has all 3 colors. It can kill an Edgewell Innkeeper. It's very close, but I think I keep. The Scryland helps. Escape really helps, because now I have something broken to do myself. Gonna bottom the second Bone Crusher. I just feel like it's not going to be necessary unless they have 2 Innkeepers. Bone Crusher really... the only thing it does well is kill Innkeeper. And I think this turn we're just going to go ahead and borrow the Clover. Basically stop my opponent from having Beanstalk and just crushing me right out the gate. Not the most amazing play in the world, but when you're just racing who gets to cast Escape Wilds first. It can be nice. We got Lovestruck. We got Innkeeper. What we got? Yeah, Rifkide. In the games where you want the life gain, Shadowspear is really more of like a late game, put the game away kind of card. Alright, they just went for Innkeeper. I am super down with that. Aethergust is also great, because it means we're not going to get escaped until... Basically, Aethergust here just means we almost guaranteed get to cast the first escape, which is incredibly good news. It's like incredibly good news. Also, opponent probably shouldn't have exposed their Innkeeper there, given that we didn't have a Clover on 2. But... don't know what the rest of their hand looked like. It might be correct. If they had a Lovestruck Beast, they absolutely should have double token and then next turn Innkeeper into Lovestruck. What is this 3-mana spell that my opponent is casting? Okay, it's just Beanstalk Giant. But that's fine. Aethergust stops you from getting Nissa or Escape down. And Ninja, yes. Practice, 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 and then practice, 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 is how I would put it. Huh. Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes. So... the awkward thing about holding up Aethergust is it means I don't get to cast Bone Crusher Giant, but I can at least hold up Brazen Borrower and cast it if my opponent goes just like... Beanstalk or whatever. I still think it's extremely worthwhile not to let my opponent get a Nissa or an Escape here. And casting Lovestruck Beast just doesn't matter that much, because if they just want to cast Beanstalk Giant, they can. So this is going to look weird, but I'm just going to pass. Axioms, do you happen to remember whose stream that was? Because that's a quote I would love to like clip for my own use later. A Drunken Guard? Okay, so the question is, is this worth blocking? I think it's not. I think the fact that my opponent has a Beanstalk sitting there, and a Lovestruck Beast, I would rather use this to like block once and gain 5 life than kill one of these tokens. Close call, but I think this potentially stopping a big hit from a Beanstalk could be really valuable in this game, since we are playing from behind with no Clover. I don't think I've played against Danny yet, though, is the thing. Alright, and yep, everything worked out exactly as we thought it was going to. We get to put this Escape back, say no. And we get to cast our Escape first. Now, of course, our opponent still has a bunch more stuff than we do. They're going to have more mana when they cast their Escape. They're still ahead this game, but I think we've given ourselves the best chances we could, given that the opponent had a Clover Beanstalk start and we didn't this game. And there's our Clover. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent news. So we're behind, but not completely unstoppably, unforgivably behind. It's definitely not blocking with this now that we have Of One Mind. I really want to cast Of One Mind next turn. Yes, Whirlwind Denial is much, much better than Convolute. So my opponent sees Of One Mind. I wouldn't be super surprised to see them go for, like, Bone Crusher or something. Nope, just Lovestruck. And they've tapped out of having Aethergust. Cool, cool, cool. So I believe that means that I'm just going to go Aethergust Of One Mind, see what happens from there. Or Lovestruck Beast Of One Mind, sorry. Would love to hit a Lovestruck. Ooh, we hit Return Nature. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now we get to go... we are going to shock to 12. Our life total is getting kind of low, but... oh, no. Oh, we'd already played a land that turn, chat. Okay, well... huh. Only has 3 unknowns in hand. We might not get too punished for that. I think we're supposed to play Clover there. I think we're supposed to play Clover there anyway. I definitely thought we had one more land drop. I'm just not used to having to play Escape on 5. Alright, there's Nissa. So here we see Nissa doing a pretty good job because our opponent was able to resolve an Escape already and they were on the play. Nissa is often pretty clumsy. But I think this time, yeah, I think this time they are just going to be a little too far ahead on tempo for us. Yama Bruno, I like Skylands more because Skylands let me have better early draws. I think triomes are very close. I think they both have a bunch of different benefits, and I'm uncertain which one is correct. So I can wish for Storm's Wrath next turn. It's not going to help that much, though, because they are going to skip the Beanstalk me here. I guess not, or just Clover me. Yep, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, we can't win from here, unfortunately. Because even if we block the land, if we block the Lovestruck Beast, we still take 5, drop to 3, and Nissa kills us with the land next turn. Still, I think we played that game as well as we could have given the circumstances, and I'm pretty happy with the sideboard plan. Good night, son. Hansen, that sounded weird. Yeah, Max, some kind of mix might also be fine. The true optimum would take a much more powerful computer than is now available to figure out. Nope. Yep. Keep 6, dump Borrower, so this hand has some good stuff going on. We basically got the early Lovestruck Clover stuff going on. Yeah, I'm just going to make the token here because I want to play Lovestruck on turn 3. If I hit a land, that means I get to double Fey on turn 4. This hand is better than the last one we had, I think. Huh. Probably not worth dragging down the Axioms, but I appreciate you letting me know. Alright, so this is fine. We get to Clover. Then we get to Lovestruck. Then we get to double Fey. If our opponent has Clover Beanstalk, we're still going to be behind unless we draw Beanstalk, but that is how the matchup goes. This attack. Really down to block, I think, because I know I can't kill their token, but for all I know they can kill my token, so I don't really hold out any hope that I get to attack with Lovestruck here. Happy to just use Lovestruck as a big blocker. Oof. Temple of Mystery, slightly rough here. Any tap land's rough because it means I'm not guaranteed to hit escape on 5 here. Having Fabled Passage as my sideboard would let me guarantee to hit escape on 5 mana. That's one reason I might want to be playing Fabled Passage now. Okay, opponent's not doing anything too scary, and I'm definitely still just double wishing here. Sadly, I can't get Return Nature. Return Nature is actually kind of what I want to get here. But instead, I'm definitely going to get Escape. And as for the other card, it's tricky. I would get Return if I had it. I could get Primal Might. I could get Unsummon. I could just get a Counterspell. Yeah, actually, I think this is just supposed to be Negate here. It stops Nissa and Escape. Basically, it means I get to stop them from having a good 5-drop because they didn't accelerate this game. And as we've seen from the previous matches, the 5-drops really do tend to be very decisive. Okay, opponent shocks in. What's going on here? Alright, opponent's done the same thing we've done, but we have the negate. We have the negate. This might just turn into a staring contest. Opponent is... Yes, we've had ourselves a very parallel game. Wow, we have literally the same lands in hand. Oh my god. We've literally... Opponent and I literally had exactly the same first 4 turns. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness, I don't even know if Tammy's watching right now, but she likes this sort of thing. I'll have to show her. Note to self that this is halfway through the stream. Alright, opponent goes for the Return of Nature Aether Gust, but we hit the untapped 5th land, which is absolute gas, and we are casting Escape. Are we casting Escape? Now that I've chosen to play this land, I guess I am kind of forced to do it. Yeah, I'm playing Escape here. There is some world where I could just play Temple, play Clover, hold up Negate. But I'm pretty down for this too. Okay, so if the opponent's got Escape, they can play it and we can keep mirroring each other. I really want to see them go Breeding Pool Escape right now. Hey, Deflator! Thanks for subscribing in honor of our sweet mirror game here. Awesome to have you here. So, opponent, if they have like Borrower plus Lovestruck, they can bounce both my permanents, hit me for 5. That puts me in a sort of vulnerable spot. Return on Clover is tricky, given that I have another one face up. I mean, they kind of have to do it. Like, what else are they going to do there? But it is tricky. It feels to me like they're maybe holding up a Brazen Borrower here. So what am I supposed to do? I am a little short on, like, cards that do things. Oh, no, I have Fey of Wishes. This is fine. This is fine. So now I'm going to go with So I'm gonna have to go shields down and negate for a turn, but I think that's okay. Play the Clover out of the side here. Go for Fae of Wishes, and then what am I doing with this? I could get Unsummon, I could get Red Cap Melee, I could get... I guess I get Boon of the Wish Giver, that's a card. I think I'm not doing Red Cap Melee, so let's leave up blue and green. No, I should leave up blue and red because I don't have any 1-mana green spells. Alright, we're going on an adventure. Let's see if I can remember what's in my sideboard here. What cards are in my sideboard, chat? There's Primal Might, but of course I have no Primal Might targets. Once it's 16? We've got Boon, Spear, Cage. Spear is weird. Spear is just really expensive to use. Could be Once in Future. I actually really like Unsummon. Unsummon just makes it really hard for us to die, and I think we're pretty far ahead on cards right now. I'm gonna get Unsummon first. And then I think I get Boon. Like, I think I'm gonna be doing more wishing later, and I don't want to go for kill stuff yet. Yeah, I'm gonna take Boon. Boon has no pressure. Like, it's not at all improbable that next turn I'm just casting Boon, holding up Negate or something. Unsummon also helps Nissa be much less devastating. That was tough, though. That was like a hard set of things to figure out. Alright, opponent does have their escape, and sadly I can't do anything about it now. They did not hit a lot of untapped lands. I wonder how many untapped lands they have over there in that hand of theirs. They did get Fae, they did get Beanstalk, so that's some scary stuff. Okay. Alright then, you know what? I'm gonna just unsummon now, I think, because if I Boon and I hit a 1-1, I get to put my opponent to 11. 11's a really nice life total to put an opponent to. Do I use the unsummon, though? Is it too greedy to do that? I can also go Boon, hold up Negate to stop one of their 2 wishes, but not both. I'm going for this, I'm going for this. I just don't see it having a useful target in the future there. I have a spare mana, and spare mana is incredibly valuable. Brazen Borrower, okay. So now I'm going to cast Boon. Going to really hope to hit an Innkeeper or another Lovestruck so I can get an attack in here. We did not. We hit Of One Mind, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to go with Forest, hold up Negate here. We have to discard a hand size, but hey, having the Boon there was nice. What an interesting game. It's really anybody's game. I have no idea who's ahead right now. I think our opponent is slightly, but honestly, anything could happen. They're like pretty restrained on mana. In fact, if they go for Beanstalk, I probably just counter one of those. Our opponent played 2 tap lands out. All right, now they have that. Huh. So interesting. They can wish for escape with Fae. Alright, am I countering one of these? I think I want to counter one of these. I think I do. Oh no, I'm not holding up any blue mana, chat. Oh god. Alright, well, somebody pump me for that, please. I mean, we'll get to use this negate later, but that was wasting mana that turn was tragic. Wasting that mana that turn was tragic. Opponent gets their own negate. Well, now we're really in for it. Yes, I'm aware of the lack of blue here. Oh, that's so awkward. We do have a negate to protect our own escape now, which is something, but that was not number 1 Clover player play. And opponent gets Once in Future. It's very smart. Honestly, we could have gotten Once in Future instead of Unsummon ourselves, and that would actually look really good right now. Are they going to Once in Future back Escape Return? That would be super sick. Alright, bouncing all my stuff. That actually means I get to put down Lovestruck tokens, though, which is kind of nice, because it turns on Of One Mind being really cheap. I'm kind of in for that. I guess they can negate my Clover on the way back down, but they don't know I have another one? Are they just going to pass with negate in hand? Opponent wound up wasting the Beanstalk Giant right now, which is actually amazing. Just going at my face. Huh. I think this is fine. They're like really far off a fling right now. Alright, so now I'm going to play the island. We've got 9 mana. And go Clover. I can still hold up Negate. Clover. Tokens, Lovestruck, of one mind, and then see what happens from there. I might just play another Clover. See ya, Panda. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we've got 2 blue open. We're going to play of one mind. We get another Fae, which is actually really good. Okay, so I think opponent's only got 8 mana. They've got Once in Future, which is a little scary, but the best thing they can do is like get back Return Escape. I think I'm playing Clover because I want this Fae next turn to be really strong. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think my opponent should have beanstalked there. I think getting mana is so important in this matchup. Like, every land you can get into play just opens up so many more lines for you in future turns. We are at 10, our opponent has a Clover, and they've only shown us 1 Bone Crusher so far. We do have to keep an eye on our life total, but similarly, our opponent really has to keep an eye on their life total. Since we've got 3 stomps worth of damage to the face, and we also have Fling Expansion for next turn, so in fact, our opponent needs to interact with us in certain ways or they're dead, but it's pretty unlikely they go through a whole turn without doing something. Playing blockers or getting back a Return to Nature or something like that. Alright, there's the Once in Future. They've already played a land this turn, so they can't escape into Return. If they Return to Nature, they're going to have a hard time blocking Lovestruck Beast. I guess they Return to Nature and then make some tokens. That would make a lot of sense. Maybe make a Fae too, or just hold Negate. Holding up Negate makes a lot of sense. I would expect to see double token pass here. Okay, we've got double borrower for those tokens though, so we get a big attack in now, unless they have a borrower themselves. They could have a borrower in their own hand, at which point I might counter one of them just so I can attack with Lovestruck. But we have another Fae too. Goodness gracious. This game, chat, this might be the best, definitely among the best Clover Mirror games I've ever played in terms of like how much thought I'm actually putting into the whole thing. Let's bounce these 2 tokens. I want to get an attack in. If this fails, I can Fae for Once in Future another counterspell. Yep, Sweck Dog, that is how a lot of the Clover games actually go. And a lot of Clover players don't realize that, which is why I win a lot of Clover Mirrors, but I think our opponent, like, actually knows what's going on. They've been playing, I wouldn't say perfectly, but they've been playing well. They've been playing very well. Okay, so if they have a Bone Crusher or a Borrower, they get to stop Lovestruck from attacking. But there's very little I can do about that, so I'm going to go to attack, see if I get to attack. I would have been not surprised if I didn't get to attack. Maybe they're going to borrow Lovestruck instead? Ether Gust, Bone Crush. Alright, do I counter this? Oh yeah, I definitely am going to counter this. I want to hit my opponent for 5 damage. It's absolutely worth it for me to stop that, hit them for an additional 5. And then I am going to very carefully keep the right mana untapped. Actually, do I just wish for Fling? Do I put them to 2 and then just kill them with Bone Crusher? Oh my goodness, I should just do that, right? I think I should just do that. They go to 2, they can't negate it anymore. I've got 2 stomps. There's like 0 chance they kill me because they can't Bone Crusher Fling. Yeah, I think I'm just doing that, actually. So I'm going to get, like, Once in Future and Fling. And then Once in Future gets back Fling and Bone Crusher if they, like, somehow counter both copies or something. And the opponent's also facing down 2 damage, don't forget about that. Boom! Yes. Do not try to play these kinds of matches at the Red Bull event at 6 AM. So the opponent could kill me with something like Escape into multiple Bone Crushers and other Clover, but I think that's unlikely enough that it was worth going for the, like, I'm gonna kill you now play. We can also just Once in Future back multiple Clovers, because they've killed 2 Clovers this game. Right? Yeah, they've killed 2 Clovers this game with 2 Return to Nature, so we can just get them both back with Once in Future, cast them both, and have 4 stomps. And the opponent just can't gain life, unless they're running, like, Pulsum Ross in their sideboard. Now, if the opponent is running Pulsum Ross in their sideboard, then we might be in trouble. Nissa into Explosion. Well, they have to wish for it, Frank. They have to wish for it, and they only have 5 forests, so I don't think that works. Nissa does add a hasty source of damage that I should be thinking about, but I don't think it's enough. Okay, the escape hits. Okay, they hit a Nissa. They hit a Nissa, but they didn't hit any Bone Crushers or Clovers. They get 2 lands. They get to play Nissa if they want to. They get 4 mana total. I guess they have 2 Bone Crushers in hand. They now get to hit me for 3 with Nissa and then kill me. In which case, good game. Well played. Yep, Kevlar Man, but I mean, if they have Maelstrom, but they have a negate, so if they were somehow able to get Pulse and then hold up negate, then we couldn't get Double Clover back. We would then have to, like, wish again and then do something else. Ah, this is it. I'm declaring it, chat. You're watching it. This is the most fun game of Clover Mirror I have played. Most fun game of Clover Mirror I have played. Lots of interesting, intricate decisions to be made on both sides. Don't let anyone tell you this mirror is all about luck. There is so much that goes into this mirror. So much. Okay, opponent has decided they are not going to Nissa here. They might have just run out of time in a panic? Okay, they've got negate. So this feels like it's pretty clearly once in future they negate it and then I just double stomp them. They shouldn't be able to beat both copies. Even Whirlwind Denial, I can even beat Whirlwind Denial. I have enough mana for that. So let's go. Clover. Negate, fling. Clover, negate, I guess. I don't know. I think there's nothing that works for them from here. There's not really a reason to do anything else here. I'm just like picking cards that seem threatening to me. I think we've got our opponent dead to rights. Okay, that gets negated. No surprises there. And yeah, let's double stomp. Let's double stomp. Yeah, Nissa just wasn't useful there. See it. I mean, if she had been another escape there, she wouldn't have been useful either, but like... Alright, good games, opponent, good games. Oh, they had 1 Bone Crusher, but they didn't have 2 Bone Crushers. Opponent chose the honorable death. What an incredibly hype match, chat. Tell your friends what's going on here tonight. Akashyap, I missed your follow for a bit there, but thank you for following. I'm actually really hungry after that. I feel like I just played one of those like Grandmaster chess games where your brain burns 500 calories. I'm gonna be right back with some food, chat. Don't go anywhere. Oh, goodness. Gonna turn the mic off while I eat some food to be polite, but we'll join the next game now. Big money, no thought erasure. Big money, no thought erasure. Or I guess dispute or whatever. Back in action. This was about the best 6 you can get. Assuming the opponent doesn't have a counter. Temur. Temur Scavenging Ooze. Play Uro. Play Uro. Play Uro. Don't you hold up a counter spell. Play Uro. Play Uro. Play Uro. Shoot. Oh, alright, well that's pretty good. That will probably force my opponent to start doing things before I start beanstalking him into the Stone Age. So it's just way too risky to get escape Mystical Disputed. I guess it's possible they just have Gust, in which case... if they just have Gust, then I obviously want to just play Escape here. But Mystical Dispute would just be horrible. I mean, even if it is Mystical Dispute, I just get to play, like, 10-10s for the next couple turns, but... oh, man. Temur... just play Scavenging Ooze and nothing? Yeah, I don't think it's worth taking the risk. Our opponent has, like, no pressure against us. I'm just gonna wait. We can get around Mystical Dispute and Quench now. We can, if we draw a land, we can just play Escape and Beanstalk. Oh no, not quite, not quite. Gunit. Sphinx of Foresight is one I've thought about. I find the card just like way too bad when you draw it late in the game. I think an ideal property of a flex slot card is it's pretty... oh, they're just Clover. They're just Clover with Scavenging Ooze. Okay, and they're ranked 29. I should pay attention to that. Just actual... okay. Okay, if you insist. Don't tap all my red. What are you doing, Arena? What are you doing, Arena? You're drunk. Go home. Beekeeper, hey! Excellent games. Excellent games. I love that. Thank you very much. Alright, so now I'm going to go Breeding Pool. I'm going to play another Escape. And then I have 2 more land drops, which I'm going to use to triple stomp and kill their Scavenging Ooze, and that is probably going to clean things right up. I do go to 10 doing this, but getting the Scavenging Ooze off the board is worth an additional... is worth 2 life anyway, so I think this is clearly the play. Man, we also have the opponent just dead to stomps, which is kind of funny. Once again, we've hit Boon off Escape. Awkward. I don't know who Mertcan is, but maybe. I'm not the best at recognizing all the content creators. Alright, so next turn we just have 16 damage worth of stomps. Like... yeah, we win. That was the... definitely up there in the Hall of Fame for best draws I've ever had. Okay, opponents doing nice, sober sideboard stuff. But they're literally dead on board also. Even if I didn't have the Clover, they were dead on board. Goodness gracious, that was a hand. Okay. Anyway. Goodbye. Good night. Scooz is reasonable. If Uro became really common, maybe more reasonable. I do think it's kind of unimpressive against a lot of decks. Good game, Mertcan. I'm not gonna wake myself in the middle of targeting though, so good game. Gonna have me do all of them. Alright. Yes, this is the nuts. This is this was turn 6. We literally stomped them to death on turn 6. Oh goodness. Yeah, Beekeeper. I think taking 5 from Beast was critical there, but you didn't know I had another Fey of Wishes. There's a lot of hidden information in these games. Mythic Richard, thanks for the follow. All right, so Clover Mirror. Just gonna treat it like I think we're just gonna treat it like the previous Clover Mirror. Cut Borrower, cut Boon, add Gust, add Return. We were punished a little bit by not being able to wish for Return in a previous game when we kind of wanted to be able to do it. So I'm not sure about bringing this in. Could be that we want Negate instead, but having 2 things to wish for later can be really good, as we've seen. I think I'm good with this. Yes, I hardcast 2 escapes on turn 5. That's the way to do it. Congrats, Icarus Fall. No, the deck is extraordinarily good. I still keenly remember when I was testing with Sultai Clover and I ran into the player who actually, I guess, was the first person to play Temur Clover at its, anywhere near like it looks like now, and just got run over. I'm like, what happened? What has escaped the wilds? What is this card? Alright, this is not a hand you can keep in a Clover Mirror, it just doesn't really do anything. This hand is not good, of course, but it's a hand that has the potential to do some things. We have to keep it. Can't go to 5, but it's not looking great. Those were not good hands. And this hand is especially ill-equipped to deal with an early Lovestruck Beast. This is a case where, like, actually not playing Triumphs hurts. You might think, well, you didn't even draw any tap lands there, and why is playing Triumphs hurting you? And it's because, as Kevlar Man could tell you, playing Triumphs lets you play more basic lands. And if we had more basic lands here, we'd be in, closer to being able to actually cast spells and stuff. As is, our opponent's going to play Lovestruck Beast and probably just run us over before we do anything. Just an unfortunate couple of starter hands. And Return to Nature here, worse than Brazen Borrower. Wouldn't have mattered too much here anyway, but if they hadn't had the Innkeeper, we would have been, okay. Okay, Lovestruck's actually kind of interesting. Sadly, I can't play it and make the Tokeneer, which is what I really want to do for Of One Mind. What I could do is shock in Stomping Ground, play it, hold up Return to Nature in case they play a Clover next turn. And then next turn, if I don't block with the token, I get to play Beast in Of One Mind. This is an incredibly risky play and you get blown out by a ton of stuff. What I'm hoping I can do here is like bluff a Bone Crusher or something. Might just be better to go for Lovestruck here. In which case, Shocking was silly. Yeah, I'm actually just going to go for Lovestruck here. I changed my mind. I should have played the Mountain, but I think trading with their Beast would be a big deal if I could do it. Casting Of One Mind expensively sucks, but it's not like I have anything else to do with my mana next turn anyway. And if I'm actually allowed to trade with their Lovestruck Beast, that would be a big deal. Woo! Mercan's playing Of One Mind! Mercan! That looks so good for you there. That was so horrible. It's just going to make the game so much harder to win in the long run. Ooh, smart. Smart, smart, smart. I am putting it on top. We're almost assuredly dead here. There are a lot of things our opponent could do next turn that would just make me scoop, but... yeah, it's not really a bluff anyway. It's also true. So we're going to try this again, but unfortunately our opponent had an aggressive Clover start, and if they'd had like Clover Beanstalk, Return to Nature would have been amazing, but they did not, and it was not. But Borrower would have been worse. Or no better. Judju, thanks for the follow. Opponent has 4 mana worth of spells to cast this turn. Not a good sign. Yeah, we're dead to pretty much anything, realistically. I am forced to block this, even though it makes Of One Mind expensive. I guess the opponent's probably playing my exact list if they have Of One Mind and Temple of Abandon. In which case, Man of Culture. Woman of Culture, I do not know who Mertcan is. Okay, well, this gives me the chance to, I guess... oh, no. Oh, wow. Well, we were talking earlier, chat, about triple Lovestruck Beast starts, and, yeah, we no longer have outs to this. That's just too much damage coming across next turn, sadly. If we had Blazing Volley on the board, maybe we had an out to that, but we don't. Should really think about putting Blazing Volley on the board, maybe over Unsummon? Is that crazy? Huh. Still down for this configuration. That is true, before not my exact list, but they somehow fit Of One Mind in there. Oh, good for Mercan. That's a good hand. I like this hand. Not going to play Innkeeper on turn 1. I don't have anything that really draws cards off it at the moment. Get slightly punished if I like draw a Lovestruck Beast and my opponent doesn't have Bone Crusher Giant, or they play Clover on turn 2 instead of having the Stomp or whatever. Still pretty cool with that decision. Another Clover's cool. Okay, so opponent could have an early aggressive start, we have to watch out for that, but if they don't have like a Lovestruck Beast, then having Clover into Clover Innkeeper into Triple Wish is going to be really strong. Yeah, Weed Magic. I mean, you could take your cues from it. To be fair, that was best of 1 historic. Are you going to see Borrower? Yep, Borrower's fine. Doesn't really upset my plans too much. Yep, definitely down for Clover into Innkeeper. If my opponent stomps Innkeeper now, Innkeeper's really more of a distraction than anything else. And I just get to double Fey, find Escape. Yes, Kevlar Man is correct that that card is worse negate. Wow. Yep. Yep, making that block all day. Interesting. So opponent, I guess, has probably Beanstalk into Escape next turn, just Clover. Okay. Ooh. Huh. Huh. That complicates things a bit. I think the right play is just going to be Beanstalk into Clover here again. I could play a Clover and then next turn have triple Beanstalk and a Triple Wish, but I think it's just better to get the extra mana out now. Feels like we should be ahead here, but as we saw from those other games, anything can happen in a Clover Mirror. I could just go Borrower, bounce both my Clovers this turn, which would be annoying. Smells like Beanstalk. Yep. Beanstalk into Mountain Island, play Borrower end of turn, start chipping. Cool, cool. Innkeeper, that's really good. Alright, so Innkeeper actually changes up how I'm thinking about this game a little bit. Before I was thinking I would Fey for... I'm still probably Feying for Escape Counterspell. The question is just, am I holding up Negate or am I playing Innkeeper Fey? And given that Brazen Borrower... Oh, Brazen Borrower is not coming down. They got Mountain Island. Huh. Alright, so we're gonna Fey. I would like to hold up double blue. I would like to hold up double blue, please. What to grab here? What to grab? So definitely Escape. That's easy number 1 pick here. Don't have Return to Nature right now, so what else am I getting? There's Negate, which covers a lot of stuff. Boon, Stroke. Wanton Future, Gust. Take Negate. Negate's going to be useful at some point in this game. It's looking like it might be a long one. And honestly, I just don't want my opponent ever resolving Escape the Wilds. I would like to arrange it so my opponent never resolves Escape the Wilds. Best way to do that is probably just picking up another counter here. Or Wanton Future. Wanton Future could also be pretty good later. Whirlwind Denial will be a really funny one to have right now. So if they have Fey, they can set up to try and counter Escape, but no, I'm going to have Negate back up. So I'm just going to pick up Stroke here. You get 2 counters, I'm just going to pass. Opponent can't cast any creatures at me. Very complicated stuff going on here. Okay, so opponent presumably has a counter or something for this, maybe? They bring in Negate from their sideboard too? Wow, they did. That's high-tech stuff. Okay, not bad. Opponent gets the first stab at a Negate here, or at the Escape. They do have a Fey. It's going to be double wishing. They got a lot of mana. We've also got a Negate for next turn if we want one. Such an interesting game. It was shaping up here. Well, that was really bad. Oh my god. Those were so awful. Holy crap, chat. Those were terrible draws. Okay, Devo 4, it has upsides and downsides to put it in a short way. Upsides and downsides. So I can't... Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Alright. Huh. So what I think I'm going to do here is play Innkeeper. Opponent doesn't have any removal for Innkeeper at the moment. Going to hold up Negate and Borrower to just cast. And I don't know if I'm going to negate any of my opponent's stuff next turn. They've definitely... That Negate they brought in really got me good. I think we're just forced to let them do Wishing here as much as they want to, and then just try to counter the payoffs. Since the only counterspell they should have left in their sideboard is Disdainful Stroke, and Disdainful Stroke doesn't counter Negate, which means that I can negate and escape if they wish for one. I may also want to negate removal on Innkeeper. So we're now a bit behind, thanks Magic for the host. Young Fire, thanks for the follow. Super cool game. Okay, there's the Fae. Sure, can't really stop it, sadly. But we can counter anything they want to play this turn. They get Lava Coil, okay. So I think I'm priced into countering that and return to nature. They played a land this turn? Oh man, if they get to play both those spells, that's brutal. Alright, Lava Coil and Innkeeper, am I countering this? Yes, I believe I am. They didn't get an escape. I'm going to counter this. I really want to be able to draw cards off Innkeeper next turn. Alright, they have a tap land, which means they get to play the Innkeeper and use all their escape, but they don't get to return a Clover yet. Return actually isn't that good here, unless I hit another Fae, but my opponent doesn't know that. Of One Mind. Superb. Just superb. Love it. Starting here, then. This is all good stuff. This is all good stuff. Okay, so then I get to go... Triple Stomp, kill Innkeeper, hit my opponent. And then, unfortunately, I can't really use... I could cast Borrower, so I have a couple choices here. I can cast Borrower and draw a card and like try to save more stuff to draw with next turn, knowing that my opponent could just kill my Innkeeper. I'm honestly kind of tempted to like bounce their Clover and then just cast Bone Crusher. I'll lose Brazen Borrower, but that's fine. I think that holding on to this Bone Crusher and hoping to cast it later to draw a card off it doesn't seem that likely to work. And I think just making sure their next turn can be a little less explosive seems really valuable. So this may look weird, but I'm trading my 2 mana that I can't use that well for their 2 mana that they may have a lot more to do with. And we drew another escape. That's really, really good news. Alright, so we're at a very safe life total. Our opponent's is getting a little bit trickier. They are ahead of us on mana by a smidge. My goodness, I just really can't wait to see like Paulo, Vitor Damarosa, and like LSV playing Clover Mirrors at some point in the tournament. That's going to be fun. Okay, no surprises there. Clover down. Opponent is actually taking a good amount of damage. They need to play some blockers here. Something like a Love Struck Beast would do perfectly. If the opponent has like Fae of Wishes this turn into like Fling Expansion, then my next turn becomes a lot more interesting. If they have a Fae of Wishes, they can also just get a counterspell to guard against Escape the Wilds. Ooh, Brazen Borrower hitting Innkeeper. Alright, so everyone's decided to just use their mana to tie up my mana. Fair enough. No Beanstalks this turn then, which is going to make it much harder to set up a fling kill in an efficient way. And they were a little short of blue that turn. I feel like they shouldn't have used as much blue mana. Okay, let's go with an escape. Maybe this gets gusted. But we'll see. Alright, it got gusted. And I think I put it on top. Question is, am I casting another escape this turn, or am I just building out my board? Definitely attacking. Opponent's last turn was not impressive. It was not impressive. I think I just want to go Clover, double token, Lovestruck, and just have creatures on board here. Not drawing the card off Innkeeper, but that's fine. I have infinite cards next turn. I'm just like putting power on the board right now. By now, y'all have probably seen how much pressure matters in this matchup. Yeah, we had Magic. Super good. Super good art. And yeah, on fire. Sorry I missed your comment there for a bit, but it's certainly an extremely difficult challenge to pilot. One of the most complicated standard decks of all time. Possibly just the most complicated standard deck of all time. But I mean, complicated is like a hard thing to measure. It's not like there's like one number or something that tells you how complicated a thing is. What's tomorrow, Heroes? Are you playing in Red Bull? Okay, there's Escape. They definitely should have escaped before playing Clover. There was no reason to do it in that order. So that Lovestruck Beast does give them some defense. Once again, Blazing Volley would be kind of an amazing card in this spot. I'm definitely putting a Blazing Volley in the sideboard somehow after this is all said and done. Okay, that's infinite tokens, so we don't get to go over them in terms of... We know their whole hand, like that was every card they have, and I'm not seeing other Fae of Wishes right now. I tapped out a lot of red. I didn't want to tap out that much red, huh? That's a lot of Innkeepers. Jesus, so many tokens. Alright, I'm going to Beanstalk here. Just want to get my deck whittled down to just being Fae of Wishes, basically. Would be awesome. Pick up a forest and island, getting closer and closer. And I think it's going to be Innkeeper, Lovestruck. Going to attack with these two. Oh, you know what? You know what? So I'm sure we did have enough mana. That was a punt. I should have killed them this turn with Fling Expansion. I got carried away, and we should have the option next turn, I believe. The opponent doesn't have any live Fae. But if they draw a live Fae, no, we're at 19. We're gonna be fine. But yes, we should have just killed them with Fling Expansion, but we should be able to do it next turn too. But yeah, punt by me. Somebody punt me, please. That was probably my most common mistake playing this deck is just like missing the obvious kill that's right in front of me because I'm like so excited to draw more cards. Hard to blame me, I would say, but you know, it is a thing that happens. Have I already played my land this turn? I have not. So let's go with maybe just third Innkeeper over the tokens here. I'll go for the tokens. I could picture these actually mattering. Thanks, Napadam. Okay, so Mertcan, if Mertcan is streamed, Mertcan's probably being like, why am I not dead? What's going on? Oh, we had 2 land drops that turn. Didn't even realize. I think we're far enough ahead that we're pretty safe here. Oh, you know, I realized Mertcan actually does have a Fae of Wishes that hasn't wished yet. But Mertcan still only has 12 mana. And there's nothing they can Fae for on 8 that matters. Even if they got Ugin, we can just Beanstalk Giant them. They do get a free Beanstalk. But we're at 17 life. So this has been key. We've been on the offensive all game. We've been able to stay out of fling range, which means we're not about to die. Had we been at like 12, I would have thought through that turn much more carefully last turn and probably would have just killed them correctly, as I should have. HT Rose, that sounds like a certain teamer deck I know. Value mid-range that can just win unexpectedly. So if the opponent has counter spells, they can protect themselves, kind of. But they also need to put down a bunch of blockers, so their mana is pretty limited here. I guess this is where we learn maybe they have Blazing Volley. In which case, having this last Innkeeper in hand is gas. Once in Future, okay. Once in Future maybe gets back Return to Nature and a counterspell? But they still don't have enough mana to really use all this stuff. They get Escape the Wilds. Yeah, that shouldn't... They get Shadow Spear. Yeah, alright, this is way too late. So they're trying to, like, set something up for next turn, but they're really, really dead because this time I'm actually going to kill them. Weed and Magic. I mean... Certainly I've gone very, very long with other decks in Standard. You know, any control deck should be able to go long, Yorion especially. What are we peeling back? They get Negate Gust. Alright, opponent really, really doesn't want to lose to Fling, but they're just gonna die to creatures. Okay, they now have only one counterspell, so they're really dead. Shadow Spear as well. Yep, yeah, this is curtains for the opponent, unfortunately. Is it? Do we have Negate still? I don't even remember if we have Negate anymore. There should be some way we can beat them, right? I think I just cast Escape? Wait, I have Once in Future. I have Once in Future. Once in Future definitely kills them at this point, so this is... We got infinite mana, we win. Yeah, I've already used Negate, but we do have Once in Future still. Once in Future does it. Because it can just take out a lot of their stuff here. Alright, so we get Fling, obviously. And Once and Future. I attack all out. I have 8 attackers to 4 blockers. The opponent has to go to 5. Which means that even if they counter Fling, I just Once and Future back Fling and cast it again. Game over. Yeah, expansion also works. That's a good point. I meant that would have been simpler. But hey, we get to show off Once in Future here. Many different roads leading to Rome in that game. Plenty of options. Our opponent goes to 4, and now we cast Once in Future, which can get back Bone Crusher Giant, which is also lethal in addition to Negate.
Jack, but I can't have you around here. You make me too sad.
Negate and Bone Crusher. Alright, well, we missed a kill, but fortunately we missed a kill on a turn where we had too much life for our opponent to kill us back. Hi, Kawaki, thanks for the follow. And we're rising right up the ranks here. That was a real headache inducer. I'm going to get something with caffeine in it and put it in the fridge for later. I'll be right back, chat. Whew. Alright, well, I like Clover Mirrors, but I wouldn't mind just hitting some mono red for a hot second here. Meter burns. I do feel much more confident in these mirrors than I used to. Like, at first, I had no idea what was going on, and then I just started playing enough mirrors that I noticed patterns, and, like, People who play like this tend to win the game. This I wasn't expecting to lose, that kind of thing, and then I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on it. That sounds reasonable enough. As tools to handle a bunch of different things. Fabled Passage means probably no Clover. That's a thing. Sultai. This is not a hand that wants to get thought erasured. Spike Dog, I don't know. Whenever Old Man Aaron decides to visit me again. Alright, Thought Erasure mana, but no Thought Erasure, you love to see it. You kind of hate to see the lands, but whatever. Our opponent's not pressuring us, don't mind lands. Grix's opponent doesn't even have the Thought Erasure here, that's amazing. Alright. We stomp the face, I'm not expecting to see anything else I want to stomp anytime soon. Clover. Okay, Clover, Clover, Clover. So we got some options. There's Beanstalk. There's Clover, there's Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher probably just dies to a removal spell of some kind that's sitting in their hand, so I don't really want to do that. I kind of just want a Beanstalk this turn, so I can Clover, Bone Crusher, or Escape next turn, depending on what my opponent does. Let's do that here. Cool, no counterspell. So if they do have discard, we at least get to play Clover and Bone Crusher and have a lot of good top decks. We are leaving ourselves open to some kind of 4-drop. But our opponent appears to have a very, very reactive hand. And honestly, how this has been going, I kind of just want a Beanstalk again. I just feel like they given how they played, they must have an Eliminate or something like that in their hand. Or they're just going to like Nicol Bolas me here. Your hand is probably like 3 copies of Heartless Acts, 2 Nicol Bolases, a land, and an Ashiok? Alright, they're just passing. They kind of know what's up here. So, what are the odds the Grixis deck is running a counterspell that can take out Escape through a land drop here? Probably 0? I guess they could have exactly Ether Gust, but I don't think they're going to have main deck Negate. I guess we'll see. If you do have main deck Negate, this gets severely punished, but nope. Huh. Well, that was a weird collection of things, but I'll take it. Now we're going to start putting pressure on them. They're going to start answering with removal spells, but the second we draw an Innkeeper or Fae, the game ends. Yeah, I don't think reactive Grixis control is going to work very well while Clover's in the format, although if they had Thought Erasure, the Escape to the Wilds things could have gotten awkward. And even in a game where our opponent has literally done nothing except play lands, yeah, we had a bunch of different sequencing options there. So we're now through 1/3 of the library, still got 2 escapes, still got 4 Faes, still got 4 Innkeepers, and an Of One Mind and a Boon. I was about to joke about them casting Liliana Dreadhorde General as their first spell of the game here, and they just went and they just did it. So here's where they make a zombie, and then I Brazen Borrower them, and the game ends. What am I wishing for, PTH? Definitely not Stroke and Negate. The thing I'm wishing for is probably just, like, Escape to the Wilds and Once in Future. Like, yes, I could just counter my opponent's stuff all day, but if they have, like, Thought Erasure and a Ritual of Soot at the wrong time, this is still kind of awkward. Problem is we do have to, like, make a bunch of tokens of these Lovestruck Beasts, so we are kind of walking into Ritual of Soot here. With the way the game is played out so far, there really wasn't a way to avoid walking into Ritual of Soot. I can hold back Brazen Borrower at least. So I may try to do that. Yeah, let's go with tokens. Tokens. We're definitely getting Ritual of Sooted, but it's whatever. Dock this in, Lovestruck, hold up Borrower, perfect. Well, definitely less of a thinky match than the Clover matches were. Ooh, Massacre Girl. That is adorable. Oh my goodness. Everything dies. That is a card I have not seen enter a battlefield in a very long time. That is absolutely adorable. Oh my goodness. And you know, I mean, it covers things pretty well. It's going to be kind of annoying for me to play around that. But even so, our opponent does have to kill us before we find any of our cards that draw us into more cards, that draw us into more cards, that draw us into more cards. And that usually does not happen in this kind of game. There's the Heartless Act we were looking for. Kevlar Man! Kevlar Man! We did it! We did it! We drew Boon of the Wishgiver! Kevlar Man! Yay! Oh, wow. We kind of did it. That was less exciting than I anticipated it being. But, I mean, way better than drawing all of those in a row. We now have more than half of the lands out of our deck. We are actually taking hits off the Massacre Girl, so we gotta be a little careful about that. We have Liliana handled. At some point we're going to find an Edgewell Innkeeper, chat. Just you wait. Just you wait. Still good, still good. Boon of the Wishgiver still did a good job. Huh, maybe if I ran two of these, I could go to 26 lands. Baral isn't Viceroy. Okay, well, I know what I'm brazen borrowing here. Okay. Fun though the 5-mana Walker Parade is. Beanstalk Giant is not the easiest card for even Grixis to kill en masse. Ooh, I guess that could be a counterspell. Whatever. Bounce the 5-drop, bounce the 5-drop. See if we get Mystical Disputed or something. And we at least have a flash creature to come in and pressure a Planeswalker. Oh, it's Edgewell Innkeeper! It's Edgewell Innkeeper! We did it! It's gonna die, but we're gonna draw 2 cards off at first, which is really good. Really good. Let's tap our mana correctly. That's the stuff. S3 Boss, this is just a YouTube channel called Lo-Fi Hip Hop Beats or something like that. If you search for like chill hip hop lo-fi beats something 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 something, you'll definitely find it. Alright, so now I'm just gonna cast Borrow right away because I want to draw my card before the Innkeeper dies. And at least it's a temple. At least it's a temple. So we get to scry. Triome would be actually kind of... Oh! Ooh, alright, well now we get to actually attack, which is kind of good. I like that. Definitely playing temple this turn. Yep, that one I will also take. So opponent now has to do a bunch of stuff to make sure we can't just attack them with 3 Lovestruck Beasts next turn. You're going to need like Ritual of Soot, at which point we will follow up with Innkeeper into Beanstalk, Beanstalk. I guess just Innkeeper and 1 Beanstalk. Huh. I actually think I keep this Lovestruck Beast back. Like, Ritual of Soot's the card they need, they may have one. Well, they definitely have Massacre Girl. So I'm going to hold back here, they're going to play Massacre Girl probably, and then I'm going to Innkeeper into Lovestruck Beanstalk, hopefully. Massacre Girl, admittedly, is annoying. Very annoying card here. Now I'm really hoping the opponent's just got a handful of Thought Erasures, but apparently not because their blue keeps auto-tapping. Ooh, the Love Strucks both live. That's actually sexy. Unless the opponent kills one, in which case they burned a removal spell on the Love Struck beast, which is fine. Alright, now they both die. But the opponent goes to 5. The Grixis deck always has another single target removal spell, Patrick. Don't forget that. Starting with Love Struck here, because it leaves us more flexible to a number of other things we could draw. Or we could draw Forest. There's Escape the Wilds. Alright, so as long as the opponent doesn't have the Thought Erasure now, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. Opponent also just dead to any Fae of Wishes for the rest of the game, and we still have 3 of them. Now that's an attack. If I double block, what happens? If I double block, the opponent could... I guess the opponent might just have another one? Because it's legendary? If they have like a stomp, they could stomp Lovestruck Beast and then play Liliana and take out the other 2 creatures with the sack ability? Then I just cast Escape the Wilds, that's fine. Whatever, as long as my opponent's turn does not involve a Thought Erasure, I am making this block. Extinction Event, I guess, makes sense too. That's possible. In which case, again, might as well make the block. Star of Extinction. I'm a little suspicious of the oops myself, I'll have you know. Okay, just Extinction Event, it's whatever. These creatures drew cards. Alright, and you got like land, Rawl, is it Viceroy? You got Bone Crusher Giant, anything but Thought Erasure. Anything but Thought Erasure is acceptable. Yep, that'll do. No duress. Yay! We win. Alright, so Clover or Bone Crusher kills them. Fae of Wishes also kills them. What am I doing now exactly? We have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. So Fae for Fling. Huh, they're actually not literally dead to Fling this turn, are they? Cast Fae, get Fling. Yeah, I can't quite kill them with that. But it's fine. I guess actually the tech play is I should be playing like... Can I Fae for... Oh wait, I can Fae for Expansion. That works. I can Fae for Expansion then stomp them to death. Oh, I can also Fling the Innkeeper. That works. Alright, we're gonna do it. I have a lot of different avenues to do this, but we're gonna do the Fling the Innkeeper one because I'm sure that's what everyone wants to see. Oh, we even get to with Negate backup? Whatever. Alright, Fling, and we'll get Once and Future. Okay, we didn't get to Fling the Innkeeper, chat. It's fine. Opponent hates our content. Opponent does not want us to have content. Grixis, whenever I face a deck like this that I think we have a pretty easy matchup against, I'm always tempted to just be like, no sideboarding, I don't care. And I guess our opponent also didn't want to sideboard. Alright. Yep, Kunit, that was the thing I was thinking of before somebody mentioned Fling the Innkeeper. Expansioning the Stomp also works. And it looks like it's time for Arena to take a little nap before it comes up again. Arena's starting to do the buggy out thing. Ooh, Axioms. Goblin problems, man. Goblin problems. Cake Hostel, I sideboard something against, more often than not. Sideboarding is pretty common. Alright, so I'm going to restart Arena here, because Arena was fussing a little bit. And then we'll get another match or 2 in. Axiom Maker, I mean, it really depends entirely on what lands are printed in Zendikar. I bet there's going to be some good lands printed in Zendikar. If we really lose the shock lands and we have nothing, it's just Triomes, Basics, and Temples, then I suspect you're not going to see a lot of 3-color decks. But Clover is better at being a 3-color deck than most other decks because it plays 4 copies of Beanstalk Giant, and 4 copies of Clover to do lots of color fixing. Youngfire. We just wish for fling. We play Edgewell Innkeeper. We fling Innkeeper at them, put them to 4, and then we double stomp them to put them to 0. I did fling 1 Innkeeper to kill somebody at DreamHack, but it was one of many valid plays at that point. Actually, there was a time when I flung an Innkeeper when it was my only line to kill somebody in a match against Reclamation. I think I tweeted it whenever it happened. It was a long time ago. Yep, 2-color Clover is also perfectly fine. Maybe you go green-blue and you just play the Uro Merfolk Secret Keeper version. Maybe you go green-black and you play Clover Knights. Maybe you go, I don't know, green-red and you kind of play the red-green Adventures build. Although that wouldn't really be a Clover deck. I guess you'd be probably black-green or blue-green. Alright, ooh, I think we were 79 earlier. No, we were 72 earlier. High-ranking opponent here. Luris of the Dream Den. This is like pretty bad. I've got 2 1/4s here that don't really do much else. I think this is a mull. That's better. I like this more. Keep that. I think I'm dumping Beanstalk Giant here. It's just expensive and doesn't really do much on the board. Plan here is to go turn 1 Innkeeper, turn 2 Fae, and God willing, turn 3 Have One Mind. Or just turn 3 Lovestruck Beast. Really hoping our opponent's on Knights instead of Sack. This hand is much better against Knights than Sack. But it looks like it might be Sack. Yeah, it looks like it might be Sack, huh? Weaponize the monsters. The good news is that's a really expensive card and it doesn't kill Innkeeper next turn. Casting Fae, which also always hurts a little bit because you always want to get Grafdigger's Cage against these decks, but I think we'll be okay. Loving Of One Mind here, I will tell you that. Alright, there's the Priest. Priest raises the question of whether I might want to just Of One Mind looking for a Stomp. I don't think that's worth it. Opponent can steal my Innkeeper next turn and sack it to Priest, but there's not a ton I can do about that. It's whatever. I'm just going to cast... The other reason to cast Of One Mind would be that it's really cheap right now, but I can still generate a human with the other Lovestruck Beast in my hand. So I think this is just getting the card off Innkeeper before Innkeeper dies, since I can get 2 cards off of One Mind later, either way. Yeah, we played Ashlozel earlier, Devo. Ashlozel was on Priests. It's still a very real deck. Cat Oven was not that good in that deck. And the cards Mayhem Devil, Claim the Firstborn, and Priest the Forgotten Gods all exist, which is all you really need. Deacon Black 6 dual color lands, that's exciting. Alright, Lovestruck Beast has been stolen. Are they just going to sack it to weaponize kill my Innkeeper? Dreadhorde Butcher, sure. So that means Lovestruck gets to attack. I mean, they have to sack it to Priest now, though, right? Right? They have to. I did beat Ash, PTH. Ash, I think, got pretty mana screwed in game 1. Which helped. I think we're at a disadvantage here. Not being able to clear out Priest is bad. But if we can live to cast Escape, that's a good sign. Alright, Lovestruck's coming in, so we gotta decide whether we take 5 or just sack Fae. It's actually not an easy decision, because Fae's a good blocker in this matchup. Actually, wait, no. When they sack that and Butcher, they just get to kill Innkeeper, and then I sack Fae anyway, so we definitely have a forced block here. And honestly, Priest eating Butcher is fine. Yep, that was a forced block. Alright, they got more stuff to play here. Scorpion. Knight of the Ebon Legion, that's a cute one. Okay, so... part of me is really into just bouncing the friggin' priest here. I just want it to go away for a hot second and not be able to activate next turn. I could token Lovestruck, which holds off Knight of the Ebon Legion, and then if priest wants to, like... if they don't have another claim, token Lovestruck is pretty good. I hate this priest so much and I want to bounce it so much, but I think token Lovestruck is just the right play. Yeah, well normally when our opponents play priest, the priest gets stomped. We're just mulligan this game, so we're one stomp short. Mayhem Devil's still going to be nuts if it ever comes down here. Speak of the devil. Okay, not devil then. Oh, no devil because there's Lurrus, of course. So they've got Lurrus. Yeah, this deck is... it does seem... this version of the deck seems pretty good. Like, the card Woe Strider has just never impressed me as a Magic card. And getting to play Lurrus in your companion zone instead of Woe Strider seems pretty lit. The rest of this game is just going to depend on if my opponent has another claim the first board in hand or not. We'll see. If they have another Dreadhorde Butcher, they could sack that and Knight to kill both of my creatures. If they have Archfiend's Vessel into, like, whatever it's called, the Reanimator spell, that's bad, but I do have a Borrower for that. We're still pretty behind, though. I think that Red-Black Sack feels like, you know, around the Sultai range, where it's, like, kind of a tough matchup for Clover. Ooh, Kroxa is so strong here. Good golly, that's really bad. Oh, that's really bad. I don't like that. Not one bit. We do get to keep Lovestruck around, which is like a blessing, I guess. At this point, I'm going to discard Borrower. Obviously, it's nice to have Borrower in case they bring back the Archfiend's Vessel, but I think it's just way too important to hit Landra. Actually, no, this should be Evelyn Mind. Otherwise, I like auto-lose Archfiend's Vessel. I probably lose anyway if they have a way to bring it back, but... we're also just going to get Kroxa back next turn. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble. Basically, if in games where you don't kill Priest, it's very, very hard to win. Yeah, they just get Lurrus back to hand, which means they bring out the Vessel next turn. That's... alright, Clover's actually pretty good. Clover's actually pretty good here. The problem is Priest, still. I guess I could bounce Priest and Knight, but then you just go Lurrus, bring back Archfiend's Vessel, I have a 5/5 flyer, so I need to hold Borrower for that. But if they bring Kroxa out of the graveyard, well, they would need another card in there. Yeah, we're like 98% to lose. We need to like hit like an untapped land into an absolutely bananas Escape to the Wilds next turn. Yeah, Kroxa is very, very, very good against... I can't believe the card is 2 mana. Just that it works with Lurrus is just absurd. I think if I you know, when I take a break from Clover this season, I'll probably play something like this, because I do enjoy decks like this when they're not doing the same friggin' arena actions over and over again. So that comes in. Sadly, we are going to have to do some bouncy bounce in here. Also has a Kroxa and a Butcher in the graveyard. Yeah, Priest is the only way they're ever casting Lurrus this early. It's all just bad stuff all the way down. But at least we didn't get Kroxa. We couldn't have afforded to get Kroxa that turn. And the current plan is going to be Petty Theft hitting... Priest Fiend, I think? I could hit Lurrus Fiend, then Priest sacks both of them, and Priest is still in play. I think I'd prefer to make sure that Priest is out for a bit, but... yeah, we're super dead. Kizit, sorry I missed your follow for a few minutes, but thanks for following. Yeah, Claim the Firstborn seems like kind of a messed up card right now, JFB. Just really, really strong. So I guess if I hit like Stomp and I can take out Lurrus, they just play Kroxa and destroy me anyway? Well, there's still only 5 cards in the yard. Ah, weaponize the monsters. Alright, so they're just giving up priest, putting me to 5, and most importantly getting Crocs the next turn. Yeah, we're dead. There's just nothing we can do, even if we play Escape the Wilds. We have an empty hand, and Croxa just comes down and kills us. So, yeah, Stomp even wouldn't really help there. This deck, I think same idea. Primal Might comes in, Brazen Borrower is pretty bad, and it comes out. It's fine against the Archfiend stuff, but pretty bad otherwise. I think Boon is really slow. Of One Mind might also be a good cut. Yeah, I think I want to do the, like, bring in an artifact removal for the main deck thing, and that's between Boon and Of One Mind for what I cut. I think it's Of One Mind. It's just hard to keep Edgewell Keepers alive in this matchup. But yeah, I'd say we're not favored at all from here. I think on the play, if we keep a 7, we're pretty good, but winning both games is going to be hard. But we're going to try. If it turns out that Rakdos is the best deck in the format, which wouldn't terribly surprise me, then I just get to do various Uro and Eorian decks instead. Or just check out Clover with some Scorching Dragonfires that Priest just never survives. As long as Priest doesn't survive, the games are pretty easy most of the time. No. Alright, well, we're going to try keeping this and hitting some lands. We can't go to 5 against Rakdos, unfortunately. And if we do hit lands, the thing I want to be doing is probably Innkeeper comes out, honestly. This is going to look strange, but basically, if I hit like a land but install for a while, I'm going to need this double borrow. I think it's going to be a long time before Innkeeper draws us cards. It's also super vulnerable to claim and all their ping effects. I'll keep playing if I miss a second land drop. If I then miss it again, I will scoop, though. That's just the ahead of time, you know it. Okay, that's a start. That's a start. As always, there's a priest. Fae of Wishes. Alright, so I'm going to hold Brazen Borrower here instead of trying to make tokens to block. I'd like to keep their claims dead, and most importantly, I would like if they like tap out for a creature to be able to like bounce their stuff. So they can have Priest come down again. This does open me up to Village Rights compared to if I Brazen Borrowed them there, but Brazen Borrower's body really doesn't matter, so opponent sacking stuff to make Brazen Borrower going away doesn't matter very much to me. Okay, it's another Priest. Now do I just bounce both Priests? I'm actually kind of cool with this coming down, so now I'm just going to bounce both Priests if the opponent really wants to sack the Priests, sure. They get to ping for 1 with Archfiend's Vessel. I'm going to allow that to happen so I can bounce the Priest on the end step, since that stops them from using the mana off the sack ability. Yeah, white mana would make sense to help cast Lurrus, or they're just running like a splash somewhere, but probably for Lurrus, since Rule Celebrant doesn't really seem to be in favor. So this, actually, I should have targeted the other Priest here, of course, so I keep Brazen Borrower around. It's unlikely to matter, since Brazen Borrower doesn't block anything. I will be curious to see if they just, like, let one of their priests die and the other one get bounced here. So then I could draw a third land, and actually I'm in pretty good shape if that happens. Okay, sure. They got Village Rights too, maybe? That is a thing they could cast now if they had it. Would still leave them with no board presence, which is fine. Weed and Magic, nope, that's why we're doing this on their end step. Look carefully at the timing of things. Strategisterino, thanks for the follow. If they do Village Rights, they're out 2 priests. which is not nothing. It's really having a thinky think over there. All right, and they let it get bounced. Cool. Bar goes to the yard, of course, which was bad. Shouldn't have let that happen. Well, we hit the Tormod script, I guess. I guess that's something. It's not like it could have been a land, so it's whatever. It at least does turn off some of their draws from here. If they have a Call the Death Dweller, Tormod script just counters it. But if they just have Priest and a bunch of Serrated Scorpions, we're still in trouble. Always castable. Always a castable Magic card. Yeah, maybe it should be a Cage instead of Crypt coming in from the sideboard, and we can switch for Crypt because it's just cheaper to wish for. That may be right. It's not like nearly as important to get Cage in every matchup against this deck, now that they don't have Cat Oven. What else? More of these, sure. Well, Tormund script to play, those are just kind of 1/1s. Land? I am... Yeah, chat, to tell the truth, I'm just not feeling this. I think that game was, like, plausibly winnable, but then we have to play the next one, and I just think it's bad television to, like, watch the opponent sit there clicking through their turns while we can't play anything. So, sorry for that, but I think we'll all be happier if we get to move on and play one more full match before the stream ends. So, we lost one match to Flood, one match to Screw. Let's see if we can power through and get a win at the end of the stream and end up in the top 50 here. Alright, just want my third land. All I want for Christmas is my third land. Yep. Super easy keep. His hand gets horribly punished if my opponent has a shock. Otherwise, it's pretty darn good. I mean, pretty darn okay. Average. Baseline. Opponent is playing Lightning Bolt, Sleeves, and Mountains. But that's not a shock at all. Winning. I actually kind of like Beanstalk Giant here. It opens up Fave Wishes to actually do some things. Yes, Weeded Magic. I believe they may well be mono-red. That would be my assumption here. Maybe it's red-green elementals. Nope, opponent's just not having it. Okay, let's assume it's mono-red. Sideboard against mono-red. Goodbye, escape, escape, escape. Goodbye, Boon. Hello, Gust. Hello, Storm's Wrath. Hello, Red Cap Melee. Hello, Primal Might. We'll hold Unsummon in the board as a thing you can wish for, but almost every time in this matchup, you just cast Fae as a 1/4 for 2, which is why we bring in all the removal spells. Glad they didn't have a shock. That's also possible. I mean, they could have just attacked and hit light up still. Rank HC, you mean the one we just played that was over in 30 seconds, or the one where he drew two? Yeah, we were just missing a third land, Frank HC, and our opponent got too far ahead. Yeah, this works. It's got a 1/4, it's got a bounce spell, it's got mana of all the colors eventually. It's pretty bad at dealing with early Scorch Spitters, but hey, Storm's Wrath, there's a thing we can look forward to. Steamkin. Much rather see that than a robber here. Steam Vents. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with Fae here. It blocks pretty well. Then next turn I can go tap Steam Vents Borrower, turn after that I can Beanstalk, turn after that I can Storm's Wrath, or I can just go Beanstalk. Interesting, so this is going to be like Scorching Dragonfire? I would not at all mind trading Fae of Wishes for Scorching Dragonfire in my opponent's turn here. Stomp. Oh, it does it too. Still think it's right to block there to stop him from having light up the stage, and knowing that we were going to have access to Brazen Borrower here, and now that we have a token to play out, I'm just going to do the token. think it's safe to wait on the bounce. Turn after this, we can just cast Lovestruck Beast and cast Promite as a Prey Upon. Tin Street Dodger. Alright, so we're going to bounce the Steamkin now before our opponent can use it to make mana off of, like, an instant. Opponent better have some plans to do with this 1/1 at some point. Let's see, so... yeah, we'll just use the opportunity to get a tap land down and play Lovestruck. Primal Might will take care of Anax if it has to. I keep forgetting to put Blazing Volley in the sideboard. Gotta get Blazing Volley in there. Okay, opponent really struggling with the land drops this match. Which is a shame. It's also kind of the mono-red story. Nope, Weed. Without Wilderness Reclamation or Fire's Invention in the format, you don't really need Mystic Repeal anymore. You'd just rather have the more flexible return to nature since people are now playing lots of Lucky Clovers. And Great Henges and things of that nature, so... still don't really see any deep need to Primal Might. I could attack with Lovestruck Beast here, and I think I will. This gets punished a little bit by Robber of the Rich, but if my opponent's next turn is Robber of the Rich, they get absolutely blown the heck out by Storm's Wrath. They were not willing to trade Scorch Spitter last time I looked. So I'm going to do that. Alright, and they have given up on trying to be cute. So I could block, take 1. I could not block, take 2. And then I could attack with Lovestruck Beast before playing Storm's Wrath, putting my opponent to 10. Could also just cast Beanstalk Giant next turn if I draw a land. Think I'm just going to go for the block here. Yeah, Return Contendant Uro, which is a thing. Wilt might be better, since I'm boarding in Return to Nature against Clover anyway, it might be better to have Wilt in that slot so I can cycle as needed. MTG Player 82, thanks for the follow. If one hits their third land, is it Anax? Ooh, it's Subira. Subira dies to Storm's Wrath way harder than Anax does. Goodness me. Okay. Well, that was a pretty swift, satisfying match. And we're kind of hitting 3 hours here, so I think, did that get me to top 50? It did, top 50. Alright, so we'll end there. Hit a nice win streak, took a tough loss, missed some land drops. But Clover's very good. I'm going to continue playing this deck and try to be in the top